Hello and welcome back. This is Queen 3210, and 107 achievements later, we're finally going to move on to what I'm assuming is the true ending, which is basically everybody survives. But we shall see, won't we? Yeah. So far what we've done is we've done a semi-blind playthrough of the game. Then we did an all-kill run, and then we let there be 2 survivors, which would be Luke and Ashton. And then we also had Isabella with her 3rd variant, which ended up with her being in a coma, and that did not end very well either. So, with all the morose shit out of the way, or as much of it as I'm willing to adventure into right now, we're gonna change things up a bit and try to ensure everybody's survival. So let's get started. Oh, hi, kitty. The other thing I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna be skipping anything. I'm just gonna run it through as if it was a regular playthrough, just for something a little different. The Ermengarde Mansion. It was built by Lord William and Lady Elizabeth Ermengarde of Luxbourne, humble ambassadors of peace and beloved by their people. Both were well known for their compassion and generosity, never failing to extend a helping hand to anyone in need. Under their influence and wealth, what was once a small, sleepy village grew to a prosperous and bustling town. However, the seasons of joy eventually ended when the good nobles perished at the hands of the Great Plague. Their riches and legacy were henceforth passed on to their only child, Lady Charlotte Ermengarde. And we all know what Charlotte's about. If you've been watching the previous videos, you do anyway. The mansion has stood since the 1620s, a witness to a very long history of joy and pain. After Lady Charlotte unalived herself, the great house was eventually left uninhabited. And that is when it began. Surrounding villagers spoke of seeing and hearing unearthly things, of cries and howls that filled the nights, and hearsay of a mysterious woman roaming the hollowed halls aimlessly. People who dared enter its walls were simply never heard from again. Even after 400 years, these stories remain, much like the house itself. Whispers about the once great house, its legacy, and its curse still fall upon the villagers' ears. In spite of this, the current owners are convinced that these stories are nothing more than a hoax. With little regard for the truth, they had Briar Realty Corporation place the property back on sale. Like Pandora's box, the secrets that lie inside await to be discovered by brave souls. No matter what happens, take care not to be consumed by the curse. Good luck. And we start with Isabella.
Hello? Isabella? Are you there? Where are you?
A familiar jittery voice comes from the other side.
Oh, hey Rose! I'm at St. Goretti High. What's the matter?
What do you mean, what's the matter? It's the mansion, silly. I'm here and you're late. Jeez, we're on shift together. You promised. Oh my god, please don't tell me you forgot. You were planning on leaving me to check this place out on my own, weren't you? You chickened out.
Calm down. You know I take my promises seriously.
I'd like to believe that. So hurry up and get here. This place is huge. A bit too quiet since no one's lived here since, forever, but beautiful nonetheless.
Why are you so surprised? This isn't the first time you've been there.
I know. I just wish I could live in a place like this. It really takes my breath away.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be so sure about that. Not after the rumors that say it's haunted.
Jeez, never mind those rumors. Ghosts aren't real after all. And even if they are, which they are not, they can't do anything.
I think after watching several of these videos, we are very well aware that they are, in fact, real.
They're nothing but spirits.
You don't know that. They might be listening or watching right now, and they might not be happy with you enough to curse you.
No offense, sweetie, but that's a bit of a stretch.
Believe it or not, it's better to be careful.
Right. You know, not every property we sell will end up with a dead body stuffed in a sofa.
And I think that mansion is where we'll likely find another one. I can feel it.
That was one time, Isabella. Loosen up. Wait, just get here ASAP, please. I'm getting bored being here on my own.
Fine. Let me just finish up here. I'll be right there soon.
Okay, see you. Bye.
She hangs up before I can respond. Rose, still charming as ever.
Who was that?
I look up from my phone to see Rebecca, giving me a questioning look.
Oh, that? It's just Rose.
The one who trained you.
The one you said who trained you for your job back when you started.
You're working together again?
Just for this property. We've been scoping out that big mansion down Anselm Village after the renovations. Today's sort of its grand opening to the public. The RC wants to give it one last check before we let potential buyers tour it this afternoon.
Hold on. Is this the same mansion you've been telling everyone about? Didn't you keep saying how it just gave you the creeps? You actually went there? And you're going back?
Well, I did promise Rose I wouldn't ditch her. And besides, a job is a job. Gotta do what you gotta do to make a living.
As soon as those words leave my mouth, Becca lets out a soft chuckle.
What's so funny?
Nothing. It's just that I didn't expect you to say that. Coming from you, it sounds so out of character. I mean, no offense, but you've been freaking out ever since you got assigned to it. I honestly thought you'd back out.
Not all the time. I could really use a huge amount of cash right now, and this is just the fastest way to get it. Plus, listen to this. Briar Realty wants it sold as soon as possible, and the agent who lands the deal is going to get a huge bonus. They never give bonuses like that. Getting that would make life so much easier. They're desperate, I'm desperate, it's perfect.
A sympathetic look crosses her face.
You know, if you're really in urgent need of money, you could have just asked me. Or Ashton. We can always let you borrow, and you can pay us back whenever.
I have to keep myself from groaning out loud. In the years I've known her, I can already tell what to expect when she has that expression.
Becca!
I've noticed that you've been living off instant noodles these past few weeks.
She crosses her arms and grimaces at the thought. Her voice slightly rises as she begins to scold me. Instantly, I'm reminded why Becca excels at teaching boisterous teenagers.
Stop eating junk! They're cheap, but they're not good for you. You'll definitely end up in the hospital if you keep at it.
Here we go again.
Hey! I eat other things too.
I fold my arms across my chest, mimicking her posture and giving her the best frown I can muster. The same one I'd used with my younger siblings when they're being difficult. Instead, she only raises an eyebrow at me.
That's not going to work on me. And I saw it when you were cleaning your flat last week. The instant noodle cups outnumber everything else.
You're just exaggerating. Did you even see what's in my cupboard yet? I'm not just living on instant noodles alone. I've got canned beans, peas, tuna, ham, and even hamburgers in there.
Becca's wrinkling her nose by the time I get to the end of the small list. She even went a little green on the last one. I would have laughed a little at that if I didn't know it would only lead to more reprimands from her.
Aren't those the same ones you won from the grocer's raffle more than a year ago? I sincerely hope you're checking the date stamps on those things before eating them. I don't want a repeat of last year. In any case, those are still not exactly healthier choices, Belle.
She shakes her head, possibly laughing at some funny distant memory. When she looks up, I immediately brace myself. More words from her. Sometimes it's just better to let Becca talk until she's out of things to say. But when she turns her attention back to me, there's only warmth in her smile.
What am I going to do with you?
She says this more to herself than me, her voice shifting to something kinder, even motherly if I'm looking for the exact word.
I hope you know that it's impossible not to worry about you when you're like this. You don't have to keep eating the same thing. Didn't I tell you before? You're always free to reheat my leftovers.
Thanks, Becca. I really appreciate it, but you don't need to keep babying me. You've been taking care of me since after I moved here. You have to take a break sometime. And before you ask again, no. You know I'm not a fan of borrowing money. And I'm not going to ask you to give me what you earned hard for yourself.
You and your pride. But suit yourself. The offer stays on the table, though.
I nod in response, if only to get her to drop the topic. But I'm pretty certain I will never take that offer. Ever. It has nothing to do with pride. I've simply seen plenty of times how friendships can take a turn for the worse, just because of a few unpaid debts. I don't want something like that to happen between me and Becca. We may argue about a lot of small, petty things, but she already feels like a real sister to me. I don't want to lose that friendship over something so trivial. Becca's movements when she takes a quick glance at something behind me snaps me out of my thoughts.
Well, enough chit-chat. Lunch is ending, and my students will be back any minute. We can catch up later. Good luck with your clients. You better treat us to lunch or something if you get that sale.
You bet!
With a small smile, she returns to her desk and begins sifting through the pages of a rather thick history book. She is probably working on next week's lesson plan. Or trying to, at least. Her eyes are distant, and she doesn't seem too attentive to whatever's on the page. As if she heard my thoughts, Becca starts coughing heavily. Her hand hastily goes to her mouth to stifle the sounds. This is precisely why I followed her here. For someone who makes a habit out of worrying about other people, Becca sure forgets how to take care of herself.
Hey, you sure you can manage on your own? I mean, you're still a bit feverish.
Hush, dear. Don't you worry about me. I'll just drink some medicine and I'll be right as rain.
Oh, you mean the medicine that you forgot? I level her with a flat look. She has had a cold for a couple of days now. Something about the strange weather not agreeing with her lately. And despite my advice to take the week off and rest, I found her apartment empty when I dropped by this morning. She even left the medicine her doctor prescribed. Look who's being stubborn now.
You shouldn't even be working right now.
Seriously, you big baby. I'll be fine. For now, just go to work and stop making that Rose girl wait for you. I'll call you if I still feel bad, and you can come pick me up if it makes you feel any better.
She offers me a reassuring smile, and I can only sigh. Why do I even bother? There's no stopping her when she's decided to do something. Defeated, I reach inside my bag to pull out the same bottle of medicine she left earlier. She looks at it warily when I place it in front of her. Unfortunately for her, this is one thing I'm not letting her have her way.
All right, but don't forget what the doctor said. Drink this on time. I'll see you later, okay?
There's an amused gleam in her eyes when she shifts them back to me.
Look who's playing the mother hen now.
Rebecca!
Okay. I won't tease anymore. I'll make sure to drink it, Mom.
Before I can retort, she casts another look at the clock. I take that as a sign to finally end the conversation and my short visit. With a small wave, I leave her alone to her classroom and her thoughts. I hail a passing taxi to take me to the property as soon as I leave the school grounds. The mansion is some ways out in the countryside, but I don't have trouble giving the driver directions. Apparently, everyone in Luxborn City knows of it, including every bit of rumor surrounding the place. In fact, just the mention of its name is enough for locals to give you cautious sidelong glances. I learned that the hard way the first time I commuted there, and it only boosted my belief that there's something more to that house. Even the news of it being renovated and placed back on the market has caused quite a stir. Thankfully, it's died down a few weeks later. The place would have become a lot harder to sell otherwise. I averted my eyes from the window once the buildings shrink in the distance. We get a glimpse of the countryside soon, although a quick glance at my watch tells me we're still a few minutes away from our destination. Might as well get some work done. Rose did ask me to review the mansion's documents. I already looked them over last night, but you never know when things may go wrong. Life has ways of messing things up like that. Halfway through reading the papers, my phone rings again. I pick it up without looking, neatly tucking it between my ear and my shoulder. Yeah, it's probably just Rose again anyway.
Rose?
Guess again.
That voice.
Ash.
Bingo.
Hey, what's up?
Just checking if you're still cool later this evening.
You mean that thing with Zach?
Yeah. He even called in the middle of the night just to remind me.
No, don't worry. I didn't forget. I'll be there.
Cool. I'll see you later. What time do you get off?
Around 6 p.m.? I don't know. It's the first day of the Ermengarde Mansion's open house, and we're expecting quite a number of potential buyers. I'll be booked the whole afternoon.
Ermengarde Mansion?
You know, the big Jacobean mansion at Anselm Village. I'm on my way there right now, actually.
On your own?
Yeah, well, Rose is already there, but yeah.
I see. Looks like the scaredy cat finally toughened up.
Shut up!
Ash chuckles, and I can't help but roll my eyes upon hearing it.
I'll see you later. Drop me a call when you're done. I'll see if I can pick you up.
Whatever. Bye.
Stupid Ashhole, always teasing me whenever he gets a chance. I'll show him who's tough. It takes a few more minutes until I finally reach the infamous mansion. I have to admit, the entire property does look wonderful from the outside. Yet, despite all of this, it does nothing to hide that something is just wrong. The surrounding area is unusually silent, and only the rustling of the leaves can be heard as the occasional breeze passes. While Anselm Village is just a few miles away, everybody keeps their distance on purpose. Perhaps out of fear, the horror of falling under the mansion's curse. Somehow, it makes me feel sad. The lack of immediate human presence just makes this place all the more eerie than it has any right to be. If it's uncanny in broad daylight, I can't imagine how this place looks at night.
Are you planning to go inside that place, Missy?
The voice nearly makes me jump out of my skin. Without completely taking my eyes away from the house, I give the driver a confused nod. A beat passes while I wait for him to say more, but his only answer is a non-committal hum. Belatedly, it occurs to me that he must be waiting for my payment. I mentally slap myself for spacing out and promptly hand him the fare with an apologetic look. I expected him to leave as soon as I paid, but there's a hesitant expression on him, as if something hasn't been said yet.
Is there something wrong?
Look, Missy, I'm sure you've heard what the people are telling everyone about that place. Nobody likes to be disturbed when they're at peace, and I'm pretty sure whatever they say is in that house doesn't want to either. I admit they did a good job fixing it up, but there must have been a reason why even distant relatives of the family who used to own the house never lived in there despite inheriting it. No wonder they wanted to get rid of it.
Maybe they just didn't like it?
You never know.
He drives off after. What he said has left a foreboding feeling in my gut. Also, apologies for that sneeze, guys. I breathe out a heavy sigh as I approach the house. After hearing enough of the rumors, I should have expected the conversation to take that turn. But I'm already here. Backing out is completely out of the question. It's not like I have a choice anyway. If I want to get that bonus in commission, one way or another, I've got to sell this property. The door is ajar when I get to it, however, while my own copy of the keys dangle uselessly in my hand. Rose must have left it open when she arrived. That's weird. We may be the only people here this early, but I've never known her as someone careless. Entering, what greets me inside leaves me gaping. They've cleaned every corner, waxed the floor, dusted the antiques, searched every nook, cranny, and crevice, and made it spick and span. All for the sake of making the mansion more enticing to the modern-day lords and ladies. But no matter how hard they try, the mansion still looks as soulless as ever. As though it's gonna eat you alive. If you ask me, they should have just listened to what other people have been telling them and leave this place alone. Some things in this world are better left alone, never to be disturbed ever again.
Rose?
I call out.
Rose, I'm here. Where are you?
My voice echoes softly throughout the hallways. Oh, who am I kidding? In a place this big? I don't think she'll hear me no matter how deafening the silence is. She could be all the way on the other side of the property for all I know. Quickly, I reach my phone and dial her number. But
the number you have dialed has not been recognized. Please check and try again.
What do you mean has not been recognized? talking a while ago. It's not like she was eaten by the house, right? Or maybe the ghost did hear us talking and spirited her away. Right? Right? No, Isabella, don't be ridiculous. She probably just wandered deeper into the house and lost signal or something. I dial her number again, hoping the call will connect this time.
The number you have dialed has not been recognized. Please check and try again.
But to no avail. Oh boy. I have a very bad feeling about this.
Rose? If you can hear me, please come out. Come on, Rose. This isn't funny. You know this place gives me the creeps.
No answer. This isn't going to work. This place is big. She could be anywhere. I need to start looking for her. I take a deep breath before venturing deeper into the mansion. Taking a couple steps forward, I notice something move above the grand staircase.
What the hell? Rose? Rose, is that you? Not funny. I'm leaving you if you don't come out. Not coming out, huh?
Fine, I'm going.
Okay, that's a lie. She's my friend. I can't really leave until I know she's alive. She's all right. Growing desperate, I try to contact her number again. Come on, please give me something. Please, Lord. Yes! Finally!
Hello? Hello? Rose, I'm here at the mansion. Where the hell are you?
She doesn't respond. There's also heavy static coming from her side. I sincerely hope it doesn't get caught off again before I can get an answer from her.
Rose, come on. Where are you?
A few moments pass until the static eventually starts to quiet down.
I'm attic.
What? The attic? Why?
Crap. I got cut off. Man, do I really need to go there? With how deep inside the mansion the attic is, there's barely any signal there. No wonder I can't contact her. But why is she there? Out of all places, she just has to make me go fetch her in the creepiest room of this place. Is she doing this to get back at me for being late? Whatever, I'll just go. The sooner I meet up with her, the sooner I'll feel better about being here. I carefully make my way up to the staircase. My legs wobble as I mentally curse the fact that I've chosen real estate instead of picking a career that doesn't involve strange abandoned houses. Upon reaching the top, the grand hallway greets me. It branches out to the two major wings of the mansion, the east and west wing. There are two attics here, one on each side. But the east one has been converted to a storage room of sorts, and somehow I find it least likely for Rose to wander here by herself. Besides, she never did like going into stuffy storage rooms. So I head towards the west wing first, where a simple wooden door at the end of the hall opens to a small room. Inside is another set of steps leading to the second attic. Unlike the grand staircase, though, the stairs to the attic are steep and narrow, made of old stones and covered with a thick coating of dust that kicks up into the air with every step. Thank God it's still daytime. If it wasn't for the light streaming through the door behind me, I might easily stumble and fall. With how old the place is, there are no light fixtures to illuminate the cramped passage up. Why they didn't bother to add one here when they renovated escapes me. Sheesh, they did it with the rest of the house. A small bedroom welcomes me at the end. Looks exactly as it did since the last time I've been here, full of dust, worn out, and faded by time. Odd. I thought they cleaned everything. Did the crew miss this room? Ugh, cleanliness is the least of my concerns right now. The more pressing matter is Rose. She's not here. Was I dreaming when I talked to her a while ago? Did I mishear her? No. I couldn't have been a dream. After all, the creepy ambience of this estate is doing such a remarkable job of making sure I stay alert and awake. And I'm sure she said she's here. Is this a prank? Or maybe that phone call was Rose's last message to me before the curse got to her. Ugh, shut up, brain. You're not helping. Don't make this scarier than it already is. But if she's not here, then where is she? What the hell was that? That's it. I can't take this anymore. I'm leaving. We must have angered the spirits living here. I knew disturbing this mansion was a bad idea right from the start. But nobody listened. Be fucking realistic, they said. They think I'm cuckoo because I believe in curses and ghosts and all of that. Me and my outlandish backwater country beliefs. I've always strived to be a model employee, but not this time. Nope. I'm turning back for the sake of my sanity. Briar Realty can find another agent who has more fucking realistic to tour people around this haunted house. Before leaving, I take one last look at the gloomy old room. Just to check.
Huh? What's this?
My worries about Rose's whereabouts must have caused me to miss it when I first entered the room. But there's clearly something on the floor. It looks like
A letter?
lying on the ground, just a couple of inches away from my feet. Out of sheer curiosity, I lean down and pick it up. Strange. I don't recall seeing this the last time I was here. A few days back, me and a few other agents inspected the mansion to prepare for today. I had been the last to look inside the attic and leave, and this certainly hadn't been here before. Someone must have left it in this room since then. Did Rose leave this for me? Was she here a while ago? I couldn't have missed her though, could I? There's only one set of stairs leading to the attic. The letter isn't exactly in pristine condition. In fact, it looks rather ancient. Paper so thin and rough, I'm worried it'll fall apart if I so much as touch it. But with great care, I open it, and what I read shakes me to my core.
What? Oh my god.
Nothing but the words "help me" fills the page. All of it seemingly written with crimson shaded pen. Or blood. I gulp. The same phrase just goes on and on until...
Send this to 5 people or else. Or else what? Or else what?
As quickly as I can, I scan the back of the paper and peek into the envelope to make sure I'm not missing out on a second page. But there's nothing.
No. Oh, please, no.
My hands tremble as dread creeps over me. The room's suddenly getting colder. I need to get out of here. Folding the paper in half, the sight that greets me next is me frozen on the spot. A pair of blood-soaked feet enters my field of vision, covered in gaping wounds, with skin eaten away to reveal flesh, bone, and all manner of things one isn't meant to see. It's too much. All of it is too much. I want to cry, call for help, but the words catch on my throat. Even my feet won't move, completely paralyzed out of terror. Oh Lord, please help me. We are going to close eyes and pray because we've done the other one before, and the other one leads to a QTE. I shut my eyes, muttering fervent prayers under my breath.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Prayers taught to me as a child by my mama and my papa slip out endlessly through my teeth. Because God, oh God, if you have to listen to any of my prayers, please listen to this one. And if God doesn't listen, at least I won't see the thing that kills me. A cold comfort. I wait. And I wait some more. And when nothing happens, I dare to take a peek. Only to find that the ghosting, the thing, whatever it is, gone. Relief washes over me as I shakily get up to my feet and back away towards the door. Touching it open, I slip out without a second thought and make a run for it, down the stairs and onto the hallway. I take a look back to make sure it isn't behind me. Any other person might have stopped, dismissed it as a trick of the light and an overactive imagination. But I am not taking any chances. I am not giving that thing another chance to catch me off guard. I don't think I'll ever feel safe until I get out of here. Whatever that is, every warning bell in my mind is telling me that it's going to jump out at any moment and get me while I'm still in this place.
I told them! I freaking told them! Oh man, oh man, oh man!
Racing down the stairs, a breathy laugh escapes me and my shoe slips and I find myself falling. Until my back hits the ground and pain racks my body. My head grows fuzzy and my vision dims as I fight to stay conscious.
No. Go away.
The last thing I see are those feet, before all I know is darkness. Buzz breaks the silence. I start to rouse, pulled into consciousness against my own will. Never felt this tired before. I just want to sleep, but the insistent buzzing, poking, and prodding isn't letting me. My old mattress may not be the comfiest of places, but that doesn't make me any more eager to wake up.
5 more minutes, Becca.
I swat away at what is nudged persistently at my side. I can't, come on, can't I just get a few extra minutes of sleep today? I promise I'll work hard once I'm up. Hand lightly taps my cheek and something cold is suddenly being pressed at the back of my head. The icy sensation slowly spreads throughout the area, giving me an uncomfortable feeling.
Isabella? Stop. Can you hear me? Isabella?
Fog immediately lifts from my mind the moment I recognize the voice and my eyes snap open. There, looking at me, is Rose. Another woman loiters beside her, but my attention is too focused on my co-agent to even ask why there's anyone else with her. Rose's posture just screams worry, although she's keeping a straight face, or trying to at least. I can't help but feel bad for making her fret. A wave of dizziness washes over me as soon as I try to get up, forcing me to lie back down again. Luckily, the feeling subsides after a few seconds, until only a mild throbbing somewhere at the back of my head remains. With a little assistance from Rose, I push myself upright. She hands me an ice pack and gestures for me to press it where I suspect a small bump has already formed, if the light ache in the area indicates anything.
All right, Isabella, where are we?
The Ermengarde Mansion. Why? Ow, my head.
And the date today?
October 21st? Rose.
Last one. Can you count to 15 in reverse order?
15, 14, 13, 12-teen. No, that's wrong. Why are we doing this?
She's just checked if your injury is in any way serious.
This time, I curiously regard the woman standing beside Rose. It's impossible to overlook her, what with the way she towers over us. And here I thought Rose was already tall. Who is she anyway? One of the remaining cleaning crews? But with how primly dressed she is, I don't think anyone would want to clean in a suit, an expensive suit at that. The gloves alone must have already cost a fortune. Her eyes slowly shift between me and Rose, considering us with an almost unreadable expression, before finally fixing a sharp gaze on me. I can't help but fold my arms protectively over myself as she does so. She may be far from a cleaning crew, but she certainly looks like our supervisor during an evaluation.
Just do it, please.
I eye them both warily, but recite everything as she asks. Rose releases a breath of relief once I'm done.
You scared me for a moment there. I was about to call for an ambulance. Are you all right?
Exasperation soon replaces the dull ache. The memory's a little fuzzy, but the attic and...
There was someone, Rose. In the attic.
Someone? You mean a client? Oh, that's unlikely. It's probably just one of the cleaning crews. The boss sent a few of them back this morning for some last minute...
No, not any of those. I'm not actually sure. Wait, didn't I call you? You said you were in the attic when you answered. That's why I went there in the first place.
Both Rose and the lady look at me like I've just grown another head. Did I say something weird? Rose quickly casts an apologetic smile at the woman before the awkward silence stretches on further. It's her saleswoman smile, the same one she taught me back when I was still her trainee. I should show this to troublesome clients or just to avoid trouble in general, she advised. It's also the same one she gives me when I've done something particularly absurd that may cause us to lose a potential sale. Her eyes are serious when she turns back to me. She takes both my shoulders, gently squeezes it, and with as much patience as she can muster.
As much as I'd love to have gotten at least a heads up of your arrival, I didn't really get a call from you. You know, signal here is absolutely horrendous. I was in the garden earlier and couldn't even make a single call. Isabella, I'm going to ask again. Are you really all right? What happened?
I don't know. It's all a bit blurry. I remember I was looking for you, but you weren't in the attic. And there's... whoever it is. Then I must have tripped on a rug or something on the way down. Oh no. Do you think someone came in while you were out? You left the main door open. We are so going to get into big trouble if something gets stolen, Rose.
Perhaps it is a concussion.
Are you sure you feel fine? We could still call for an ambulance. I could cover for you.
No, I'm fine.
Wait. Hold your horses, Rose. I can't just miss an important sale because of a minor bump on the head. An extremely minor bump. I've had worse when I was a kid. This is nothing.
Besides, if I leave, you'll have to shoulder everything in the open house, alone. And in a mansion this big?
Well, there's also the part where I may lose that bonus BRC promised, but that's completely besides the point. Rose gives me a skeptical look when I return the cold compress to her and push myself off the floor. I have to use the staircase's railings to steady myself, but otherwise I feel fine.
See? I'm A-okay.
The two of them exchange a worried glance, and Rose assumes a contemplative look. I bite my lower lip in anticipation. If she says no...
All right, you in.
A smile threatens to slip out for me.
But if I see that you aren't feeling well, I'm taking you personally to the nearest clinic to have you checked. Clear?
Clear as day, ma'am. Thanks, Rose.
You insisted. But remember what I said. First sign of you looking not okay, and we're off. No questions asked.
It's just a small bump. Don't worry.
You shouldn't downplay these kinds of things. It could be a serious injury for all we know.
To be fair, Rose is correct. Isabella might feel fine now, but in about an hour or so, she might not be fine. She might actually end up being worse, but that's besides the point. Suddenly, a small cough sounds against the wall of the foyer, interrupting our banter. The woman is looking expectantly at the two of us, her stare making me shrink back a little on myself. She isn't really intimidating. Well, she is. But not in the scary negative way. Far from it, actually. Her demeanor simply commands an air of sophistication and respect. In a different world, a younger me would have probably wished to be like her. At our lack of response, she coughs again, lifting a well-trimmed eyebrow at me in question. Words get caught in my throat at the sight of it, and Rose, as usual, is quick to catch my blunders.
My sincerest apologies, Miss
McCulloch. Marianne McCulloch.
She hands Rose her business card. The words interior designer catch my eyes before my partner flips it over. Oh, probably someone interested in the mansion for its 17th century influences then. I won't hold it against her though. Besides, the hearsays and remaining uninhabited for years, the mansion's original fittings and furnitures have been kept completely intact and restored to pristine condition. I suppose some people find that trip to the past feeling appealing. After all, with what it offers, this place could also be a haven for people looking to live somewhere with a classic historical charm.
Miss McCullough, I'm Rose Cooper, and this is my partner, Isabella Santos. We're just ironing out a few things, but we'll be starting the tour soon enough. In the meantime, we've prepared some refreshments for you in the parlor while you're waiting. If you could please...
Thanks. There's no need for it, though. I just dropped by for a quick survey of the place. I thought I should check the estate before I meet with the homeowners.
Rose's confusion is impossible to miss when she glances at me, and I return it with an equally perplexed look. And against my better judgment, I blurt out the first question that comes to mind.
I'm sorry. Homeowners?
I should have kept my mouth shut. A flash of irritation crosses her face, but it instantly disappears under a mask of professional detachment.
Yes. Hannah, right? She hired me to handle the interior design for their new home.
This is the Ermengarde Mansion, right?
It is, but...
She pauses, probably trying to find the right words to fix the awkward situation without offending someone. Suddenly, Rose nudges me with her elbow. Those few moments have given me enough time to clear my head of any nervousness or confusion clouding it.
It is, ma'am, but we weren't aware the mansion has already been sold.
What do you mean?
I almost flinch when she turns her gaze on me, but I stand my ground. Besides, it isn't like I haven't dealt with awkward situations like this before. I may screw up at times, but that doesn't mean I haven't learned a thing or two in the 5 years I've worked in the business.
The mansion is indeed for sale, ma'am. Today's the open house, in fact. However, we haven't heard anything from the higher-ups that a deal has already been closed for this particular property. If you'd like, my co-agent and me can check with them right now.
She nods, seemingly in deep thought after I finished. She appears to be a reasonable person anyway. Given the proper explanation, she'd surely understand.
I thought something looked odd. Excuse me, I need to call my secretary.
Thank you for your assistance, Miss Santos.
With a slight wave of her hand, she leaves us. That seems to be the end of it. Both Rose and I breathe a sigh of relief. Disaster averted. I also don't miss the thumbs up she gives me for doing a good job, and I can't help but swell with pride. Still, I've already prepared myself to dial the number to our Luxborn office and check even if she didn't ask for it. I will be very frustrated if for some reason something has already been decided without mine or Rose's knowledge. That's a whole new level of unfair. We've been working hard on this. Moments later, Miss McCullough returns, looking a little frustrated but with an apology clear on her face. I feel a little sorry for her having to go through all this trouble.
There seems to have been a little misunderstanding with my client. If you'll allow it, I'd like to stay and wait for them here. I was informed they'll be dropping by for the open house today. I figured it'd be a waste to just leave after that long drive.
Certainly. You could stay at the parlor in the meantime, ma'am. I'm sure it won't be long before our guests arrive. And, Isabella, I left a few documents in my car. You know where I keep those. Can you please get it for me?
Rose takes a glance at her wristwatch before tossing me a set of keys.
And hurry! We've still got a few minutes to double-check those papers.
Okay, got it.
The two of them disappear behind the parlor's door. Her departure brings with it a stillness to keep me company, neither welcoming nor comforting. Alone like this, it's impossible not to think of what really happened. I wish the memory wasn't as elusive as it normally is. Then again, Rose already said she didn't receive any calls for me. Was it just paranoia? A temporary lapse of having heard all of those tales about this place? Probably. I want to think of it like that. Better to think of it like that, so that I can work in peace. Except a small part of my mind begs to differ. And if I'm going to be completely honest with myself, I want nothing more than to leave this place as soon as possible. I don't know what's in this house, and I don't want to know. The keys Rose just handed me dig into my palm, its jagged edges creating shallow ridges on my skin from how hard I'm clutching it. It's a reminder of what I still need to do and why I've taken this job in the first place. Hugging my blazer closer to my body, I exit the house to get what Rose asked of me. Just a few more hours, Isabella. Sell the house, get the money. A flock of people have already gathered in the mansion's front yard by the time we officially open the doors. I'm not sure whether I should feel baffled or underdressed standing in their presence. Men and women of wealth and status, all dressed in the nines in fancy suits and lovely dresses of varying colors, composed the medium-sized group. Their necks, arms, and fingers are adorned with silver and gold, glinting in the afternoon sun. Some even have ridiculously fancy feathered hats on their heads. I really hope there aren't any magpies living nearby like in the stories. Those birds would have a field day in this. They're murmuring amongst themselves, looking at the estate's facade appraisingly, with some arguing about whose mansion has the superior architecture. But most of us stop as Rose calls for their attention. They don't look too pleased at being ordered around, but what can they do about it?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Rose Cooper, and this is my partner, Isabella Santos. We'll be taking a tour of the mansion in 2 groups. Please make sure you filled up our sign-in forms before joining a specific group.
Those who want to look around the first floor, please follow my partner. I'll be guiding the ones who wish to see the ground floor.
Hearing this, a few wander to me. They're mostly old ladies who seem daunted at the idea of climbing all those stairs. Miss McCullough also joins our group, but what really catches my eye is the elegantly dressed pair she approaches.
It's so nice to finally meet you! When Chief Inspector Lee mentioned that a famous interior designer is in town, I knew I had to get you.
Your confidence in my skills is very flattering, ma'am.
I'm sure you won't disappoint, Marianne.
Oh, you know each other?
Not at all, ma'am.
You mentioned something about a Marianne on our way here, darling?
Oh, yes, I think I did.
Ah, they must be the clients she was talking about. I might have seen their faces somewhere before. Some magazine? Or the television? I can't quite remember. But then again, most of our guests have likely ended up on the news one way or another. I wouldn't be surprised if these two already have. For people who are popular, though, they aren't dressed as loudly as the others, and in their simplicity, the couple stands out. The woman in particular is stunning enough to turn heads of most people in my group, especially the men with their wandering eyes. The guy standing beside her doesn't seem to mind, though. And if I'm going to be a bit bolder with my assumptions, I'd say he's basking in the attention. Both of them, in fact. I think they were brother and sister if it wasn't for their public displays of affection. The matching rings on their finger just cement the fact that they are indeed a couple. Whatever. Coupled or not, what's important is we get this deal closed before the current owners can even think of canceling the listing. I just hope one of the people in mine or Rose's group is brave and generous enough to buy this mansion. And so, with papers in hand, I lead the way. When they aren't whispering amongst themselves or going ooh and ah over one thing or another, they ask questions. From how the restoration process went to the history of the place, I answer them all, more than happy to talk about the art pieces and architecture mostly. However, I'm careful not to mention anything about the urban legend. Not good material for sales talk, even if the entire population of Luxbourne already knows about it.
Some of the furnishings here are actually the 17th century originals, all of which have undergone a painstaking restoration process just to return its original beauty.
Even the glass thing. Colorful ones. Oh, I don't know, but you get the idea, I hope.
The stained glass, yes.
Especially that one, ma'am. It is said to be a gift commissioned by the fiancé of Lady Charlotte Ermengarde. The mansion's current owners have specifically requested that the restoration crew take great care in handling it. It's a priceless work of art and the most distinctive feature of the mansion.
By the time I've stopped talking, her attention's already elsewhere.
Isn't this place wonderful, darling? I told you it's not a total waste of your time.
I don't know. Isn't it a bit too small? We might have to break a wall down to have more room.
Well, I think it is just right. Don't you think so, Marianne?
It is splendid, ma'am. But isn't it a little too early to make plans when no deal has been signed yet?
Never mind that. It isn't going to be a problem. We've got a wonderful legal team to handle everything. Start taking notes, though. I think I've got a few things I want changed before we move in.
The rest of their conversation gets lost in the chatter of our companions. I don't want to make any assumptions yet, but their sheer interest is enough to give me some semblance of hope. Oh, please, 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 let these guys be the one. Eventually, our group reaches the kitchen. Much like the rest of the house, a great deal of effort has been put in retaining the room's classical appeal. The open hearth at the end of the room in particular looks amazing, like the ones I've only seen in fairy tale books. And mad props to the cleaning crew. Seriously, after overhearing hundreds of their complaints about the soot and tar stains staining the bricks and how much of a pain in the arse cleaning this will be, they still managed to pull this off, except they still missed the attic. Or make it look presentable, at least.
The highlight of the room, however, is what's underneath this hatch here.
Oh, don't say anything yet! An underground wine cellar.
This is the first time the guy in the gray speaks up. Mr. Luke Wright, if my memory serves, from the forms they signed earlier. His sudden attentiveness catches me off guard. Since the start of the tour, only his wife has shown any form of genuine interest in the place. But this time, something lights up in his eyes at the mention of the Undercroft. What's so interesting about a basement? I really don't understand rich people sometimes. Right now, he just gives me the impression of a child who's seen what he absolutely wants for Christmas. I've always found it cute when I see children act that way. My younger siblings especially. On a grown man, though? It's almost funny.
Yes, sir. It could house around 7,000 to 11,000 bottles of wine.
Truly. And the room, how was it built?
The bricks that were used to build the cellar have been carefully picked for the purpose of maintaining and preserving a constant temperature and humidity in the room. It's a good place to keep your private collection in if you have one, sir.
It keeps the corks in good condition.
Oh, love. Didn't you say before that you wanted to make your own personal vineyard? Perhaps you could start one here.
You know we're going to need space for that, darling.
And this isn't big enough?
If it's space you're worried about, sir, the Ermengarde Mansion sits on a 46-acre lot. There's plenty of room for it. We were told that the original owners had a horse stable built here before, too.
There's a contemplative expression on Mr. Wright's face, but he doesn't say anything further. His wife, however, seems really pleased that he's started to show interest, if only a little. I smile to myself. I may not completely understand how these people's minds work, but I sure as hell know how to spot a buyer with sincere interest. Score! I can't wait to tell Rose. The rest of the tour goes by without a hitch. After more than half an hour, we're able to cover almost every room in the ground floor and are heading for the parlor. Funny, first time BRC had to survey the property, I kept complaining to Rose how big it is. Now I can't even bring myself to care, no matter how much my feet hurt. Maybe this is just my excitement over a possible sale? When we reach the parlor, however, an odd feeling washes over me. It starts off as small goosebumps on my skin and a feeling of being watched intently. Whispers in my ear and shadows dancing, lurking in the corner of my vision. Dark silhouettes that are gone when I turn to look. Chills settles down my spine, making me feel sick, and I start to break out in a cold sweat. I can't do this. I need to sit down for a moment. The old ladies in the group have been requesting for a break anyway. If I can just...
Excuse me? Everyone? We will be taking a 15-minute rest here before we visit the first floor. In the meantime, please help yourselves to the refreshments and snacks we've prepared. If anyone has any questions, feel free to approach me. I'd be happy to help you.
I let them sit while I retreat to a quiet corner to recover. It's not what you think. Don't think about it. It's not what you think. I probably just caught Becca's cold. Don't think about it. I'm left alone for a good while, the same words spilling out of my lips in silent prayer, until a hand taps my shoulder.
Hello, you there?
Yes, ma'am?
Oh, look at you. Having to show a group around a mansion this big must be exhausting.
Not a problem, ma'am. I'm just doing my job.
What a hard worker. Anyway, Isabel, right?
Isabella,
actually. But yes, what can I help you with, ma'am, right?
Please, just Hannah. Call me Hannah. I just wanted to ask, how soon are we able to move in?
My brain completely stops. The sick feeling plaguing me suddenly gone, replaced by utter bewilderment. Is this a joke? She looks at me expectantly as I struggle to come up with an answer.
Wait, ma'am, you see, but we haven't even negotiated a price yet, ma'am. We haven't even finished touring the rest of the mansion. A sale would be great and all, but...
She stops me from speaking any further and puts a hand on my shoulder. For a moment, with her tight smile, she looks as if she's tasted a particularly sour lemon.
Oh, please, sweetie, don't insult me. Money is not a problem. And, just between you and me, this place is better off with us than with some old lady who will probably just fill it up with cats.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with cats.
I personally don't think there's anything wrong with having cats here, Ma'am Hana. I'm sure there's more than enough space here if you want pets.
Perhaps I'm still not feeling well, but really, what's wrong with cats? More importantly, why is she talking about moving in already?
Well, I'm more of a dog person. But you see, this is going to be a gift to my darling. And it would be so wonderful if you can secure its purchase for us. Why, I can even offer something extra if you help us out with the paperwork.
We actually have a process for this, ma'am. I don't really think that would be necessary or appropriate.
And just what are you two lovely ladies talking about here? Leaving me and our lovely interior designer to talk here by ourselves. What would the people think, darling?
Oh, it's just small talk, love. I was asking if she could help me with the paperwork.
I try not to wince when her nails dig into my shoulder. Can't help but send an imploring look at Miss McCullough, who only gives me an apologetic smile and a shrug.
Yeah, I can give you a fact sheet and a form to fill out.
She wastes no time in taking the papers from my hand and shuffles through the bunch. Oh man, Rose is going to be so angry at me for letting her do that.
Wonderful. And Marianne, I'd really love to talk to you about those changes. You took some notes earlier, yes?
I did, Mom. But I really hope that this time...
Excellent. Hopefully you can help us out too, Isabel.
Isabella.
Right. It's a lovely name, Isabel.
It's Isabella.
Yes, that's great. We'll be more than happy to put in a good word to your superiors too, and what's this?
A look of confusion and disgust appears on her face. Turning to her husband, he merely shrugs in reply.
That's, an interesting work of art. Not to my taste, though. I'm sorry.
Darling, Buttercup, art is a complete overstatement for this garbage. It looks like a cheap prop from a D-list horror film.
Shush, love. Let the girl do what she pleases with, what do they call this? Oh, forget about it. At the very least, it's not as dreadful as the one art exhibit I was forced to attend last month. You should have seen it, Marianne. Even you would have been appalled. But I'm sure you'll know what to do with our walls once we get started.
I highly doubt it is as bad as you say, Ma'am. Nevertheless, you can be assured that my team will only pick whatever suits your tastes. Nothing of this chain letter sort, of course. It has to always work with a palette.
I'm quite sure chain letters these days don't come in this form.
It's my turn to be puzzled. What do they mean? Rose and I double-checked everything. Are the papers I handed not enough? I want to ask what I did wrong. I don't want to mess this up. But with the way Ma'am Hannah's leading the conversation, I'm afraid that's exactly what'll happen if I do interrupt her.
That's good to hear. See, darling, isn't she an absolute delight to work with? I can't wait to see how this place will look when she's done with it.
Oh, you don't have to tell me that, Buttercup.
A smile is back on her face when she turns to me and hands me a strange piece of paper.
I would still put it away if I were you, though. Otherwise, people might get the wrong impression. Anyway, as I was saying...
I don't hear the rest of what she says after that. I can only stare down at the piece of the paper, at the letter in my hands. The sides crinkle in my grip and my breathing grows labored. Dread quickly fills my mind.
Isabella? Isabella? Are you all right? You're looking pale.
I didn't even notice when Rose's groups joined us in the parlor. I want nothing more than to say that no, I am not all right. I want to leave this place. Because I remember everything as clear as day. This letter and those blood-soaked limbs in the attic. It's real.
The letter. I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Careless. I've been so careless. How did I even tell them that without looking like I've gone mad? Should I even tell them? Nope.
Rose,
Words are stuck in my throat. I want to tell her. I really do. But is she going to believe me? She already dismissed me earlier. It's a concussion, she said. It's not. There really is something in this house, in that attic, in that letter. It's going to go after us. Please believe me.
Dear me, is Isabella all right?
Ma'am Hana's voice breaks through the haze beginning to cloud my mind. Rose is looking down on me, worry etched on her features. I didn't even notice when she moved the wrinkled paper from my hands and pushed me down to sit on a nearby chair. At the edge of my vision, I can also make out Miss McCullough asking a passing food server for a glass of water. Through it all, Mr. Wright stands on the sidelines. Although curious, he appears more inclined to watch the scene than help. They are all as likely to believe me as Rose is. To everyone, whatever's in this house is just a hoax, a cautionary tale for children.
Isabella, do you need me to call that ambulance?
She offers me a drink, but I push it away. I need to get out of here before I can cause an even bigger commotion. Clear my head, take a breath of fresh air. Anything to take my mind off things. No one's going to believe me anyway.
No, I'm just feeling a bit out of it. Excuse me. I'll be back. I just need to catch my breath.
Bowing my head, I mutter a quick apology and gather my stuff to make a quick exit. Doesn't matter if this place is haunted or not. I've caused trouble, and Rose can be quite unforgiving of behavior like that. I'm almost at the door when she catches up to me.
Isabella, wait!
The apprehension must have been quite obvious on my face because her expression instantly shifts to something gentler. Eyes softer, a fond smile spreading on her lips.
Hey, I'm not angry.
I know. I'm sorry I ruined this for you.
Come on, you didn't ruin anything. It's not like we haven't ran into any problems before. If we don't get a deal today, we can always try on a different day. And look.
She hesitates, completely trailing off before shifting her gaze down to her hands. A small gesture to stall. Her fingers are fiddling with a piece of folded paper. It's that stupid letter again. My hands stiffen when she hands it back, but I take it nevertheless. More as an automatic response than any desire to have it back. I'll throw it away if I can. But I have this nagging feeling that one way or another, it'll find its way back to me regardless of what I do about it.
Rose, this is... You have to let them know about...
I know you want us to get this sale so badly. And we've made a lot of plans on how to go about this. I mean, who wouldn't? This is the first time I've been assigned to a property like this. I've sold plenty of houses before, but nothing like what we have here. It's a beautiful house. I'd love to get one of my own if I ever win the lottery. But I think... Look, here's the thing, Isabella. If we are going to do this, work on something, I don't know, this big, I need you in top shape. And the way you are now...
My mind stops.
What? Wait. No, I can still work. I just need to get myself together.
That's what you said earlier. I let it go because I thought, hey, it's your own body and you should know more than anyone how you feel. But after this, I really think you should take a break.
You're kicking me out?
No, I'm not. Look, all I'm asking is for you to take a seat somewhere I can see you, and let me handle this for now. You're clearly not yourself, and I honestly could use some time not worrying when you'll fall over or not. The day's not even over, and I'm already feeling the stress. Please, humor me just this once.
She clasps her hands together in front of her, eyes pleading for understanding. And I do understand. To some extent. That doesn't mean I feel any less awful. Whether at myself or at the unlucky turn the situation has taken, or for her, I don't really know.
I promise I'll give you a full report of what happens after. I'll even let you take the lead tomorrow.
Fine. Okay. I'll step aside for now.
You're upset.
A little, yeah, obviously.
If it's any consolation, I won't tell the boss about today. You know how he is.
Please don't. I don't want a repeat of the lecture I got during my first assignment. He called me a noob, and I don't even know what that means.
I don't know what to say about that. At the memory, we both burst into helpless giggles, earning a strange looks from the guests milling about the door. Talking and laughing like this, it's easy to forget any mishaps that happened. Little things you learn to appreciate, I guess.
So, are we good?
I'm still not okay with it, but Rose has a point. It's better for me to step out of this one for now.
I won't be able to help you anyways if I keep getting distracted like this. Maybe I'll just take a walk outside or something while I wait for you to wrap things up.
Please, just stay put. I insist.
I'm not an invalid, Rose.
You clearly have not seen how you looked earlier.
It's not that bad.
Color hasn't even returned to your cheeks yet. Just stay here, all right? Don't even think of going anywhere. Let me finish what I'm doing here, and then I'll take you back to Luxembourg myself to have that minor bump checked. At least wait for me to call someone who'll fetch you, okay?
She's gone before I can voice one word of complaint. Left with nothing else to do, I find myself drifting back to the foyer. A few visitors linger in the area, some merely enjoying the afternoon sunlight streaming through the stained glass windows. Others can be seen admiring the priceless antiques decorating the room. One group of elderlies gathered some way across from me are occupied in a friendly banter about which one would cost more to buy. Little argument here, and occasional laughter and teasing there. I smile to myself. The conversation reminds me of what I've been missing these past few months. Rose is probably right. I do need a break. Maybe this afternoon's hangout will help? Speaking of, I should call Ash. It's a few hours early from what I've told him, but he did ask for a call once I'm done. Besides, I don't have a right back. He offered, so I might as well take it. Or bribe him into giving me one. Not that he'll ever accept the latter, personal convictions and all. Honestly, if there's something I find admirable in him, despite his tendency to annoy the hell out of me, it's that. Well, whatever way works. Free ride is still a free ride. There's Rose's offer too, but despite what she says, I know she'll be busy for the rest of the afternoon, especially without me assisting. Bothering her for a favor as small as this is the last thing I want to do right now. A couple of minutes and a few prayers asking for a decent signal later, the call finally connects and...
Shit!
Sup, I'm Ash from Deluxe City. Baggage, watch out. Can't
Shit, how loud is this thing even?
Trouble? Better not
Sharp
lie.
ringing fills the entire hall, disrupting the pleasant quiet that has settled. Soon enough, heads begin to turn in search of the source, mine included. My eyes dart around the small crowd before zeroing in on a lone figure crouched behind the same group of old people checking out the decors a moment ago. He's facing away from me, fumbling with something in his hands. But I don't need to see his face to know whose back it is. Oh, I'd recognize that dumb parka anywhere. Without bothering to end the call, I marched towards him. After what happened today, I'm really not in the mood to deal with this.
Of all the times to...
Ashton Frey!
What happens next is something I'll surely regret later for not having recorded.
Ah!
He jumps, lets out an undignified yelp, followed by his phone slipping out of his grip. He bounces from one hand to the other in his poor attempt to catch it, before ultimately falling flat on the floor with a resounding clack. Kind of feel sorry for the phone. And the floor. It is not every day that you can catch someone like Ash off guard and get a reaction. Damn his stupid detective senses. I'll take every ounce of victory I can get, no matter how small. Ha! An awkward pause passes between us. A blink. A cough. He makes a face. And then, in a too quick motion, he ducks and retrieves his abused gadget, while a grin threatens to break out from my lips. He doesn't meet my eyes when he straightens, but a flush has crept up his neck and cheeks. In another universe where we haven't known each other for 5 years and suffered through his teasing isn't a day-to-day occurrence, chances are I'd find that adorable. Endearing, even. Unfortunately, this isn't that kind of a world. The way things are, I'm already content to see him out of his obnoxiously calm and collected disposition.
Hello to you too, scaredy cat. I could stand to be greeted like a normal person, you know.
What? And miss that look on your face? No way. Oh man, I should have taken a picture.
I am so honored you find this funny. Is that how you treat your guests? I think I need to talk to your supervisor.
Talk to yourself. You aren't even a guest here. What are you doing here in the first place?
For a moment, he looks like a cat that swallowed the canary. Suddenly checking every nook and cranny in his bone for any damage or scratches seems to be a more interesting activity than explaining himself.
Ash?
I could be looking to buy a house.
A mansion?
Yeah, why not? Did you see the view outside? It doesn't look haunted to me at all.
He's messing with me.
Ashton, I am not in the mood. What are you doing here?
He chances a glimpse at some point behind me. The parlor? Curious, I followed his gaze, but before I can figure out what has caught his attention, he places a hand on my shoulder and turns me back to face him.
I just finished working on something, so I dropped by.
I still don't see how his work has anything to do with why he's here. At my confused look, he drops the hand resting on my arm like he's touched something particularly hot and casually rubs the back of his neck.
And I said I'll see if I can pick you up. Turns out I can. Free time and all. So here I am. Figured you'd still be busy, and so I roamed around for a while.
Oh, you should have mentioned that sooner. I was about to throw you out.
Throw me? Hey, I was given a pamphlet. I think that makes me a legitimate client.
We have mandatory sign-in sheets for clients, Ash. I didn't see your name on it. And you can't just roam around because it says open house. Normal people actually follow an etiquette here.
Right, okay. I think I'll just go ahead and...
No, wait. I wasn't really going to throw you out. Rose said... Never mind. I was just about to leave anyway.
Wait, what? Now?
Something must have shown in his face because he pauses and gives me a long, hard stare. Sometimes I forget how easy reading people is for Ash, given how he often looks as if everything around him is a chore. I avoid his eyes, hoping he'll drop the subject and won't ask any more questions. The last thing I want is to tell him what happened, especially the part about the letter. In fact, he's the last person on Earth I'd ever think about telling it to, if I can help it. Sure, he's a dependable guy. God knows how many times he's helped me, even without me asking for it. But stuff like ghosts and the supernatural? He'll never believe those, even if he hears it from a friend. Except maybe if it's Becca. On a good day, the most harmless thing he'll do is give you an explanation why those things have no chance of ever being real. At worst, he's insufferable. He'll poke fun at you at every single chance he'll get. Ashhole. What did I ever do to him? He never does that to Becca or Zach. I can already imagine how things will go down the minute I spill a word of what I saw. Nope, over my dead body. Before it catches his attention, I shove the letter deep into my bag.
What's wrong?
Nothing. Let's just go.
Doesn't look like a nothing to me.
We still have Zach's movie tonight, remember?
It's still early. And didn't you say your shift will end around 5 or 6? What about... Hey, Isabella, wait up!
A rush of air greets me as soon as the main doors open. Not the usual autumn draft, but it's still a welcome change from the stifling atmosphere inside the mansion. Ash's footsteps are quick behind me, the soles of his shoes thumping hard against the polished concrete in an awkward cadence as he rushes to catch up. He calls out once, twice. Mansion still looms in the background. Whispers calling me back. Shadows beckoning me. I don't look back. We spend the ride back to Luxbourne City in relative quiet manner, with only the radio's disjointed hum in the background to fill the silence. Occasionally, Ash will reach out to fiddle with it until the signal settles, or it's on a respectable volume, but otherwise he doesn't say anything. Neither do I. However, if the furtive glances he's been setting my way are signs, I know there are things he's been itching to ask since we left the mansion. I keep my eyes trained on the passing scenery outside, in the small hope that my disinterest will dissuade him.
Here.
All of a sudden, he tosses something at me from a small compartment on his side. It hits me cleanly on the chin before I can make a move to catch it. The small package makes a soft landing on my lap instead.
Sorry.
The glare I send him wipes the smirk about to form cleanly off his face. He clears his throat, focusing his eyes on the road again. I swear he did that on purpose. Ignoring him, I flip my long-forgotten package on my lap.
I won't say no to free food, but why are you giving away cereal bars?
I always have one on my person, and you look like you're about to pass out back there. Have you eaten lunch yet?
I don't even get a chance to deny it, because right on cue, my stomach rumbles loudly and an empty, gnawing feeling in my belly becomes unnoticeable. No surprise there. I did skip breakfast and lunch so I could catch Becca while she was on break. I was hoping to get a small meal after. Guess with everything going on, I just forgot until Ash mentioned it. It's not like that hollow feeling's new to me, though. If anything, it's just one of the things I've gotten used to ignoring over the years, growing up. But thanks. Then I tear open the package and start nibbling on the edge of the bar. Apart from an acknowledging nod, Ash doesn't say anything after that small exchange. For that, I'm grateful. After getting an earful from both Becca and Rose, it's nice to be able to just sit down with someone who's not going to nag at you.
How'd the open house go?
The usual. We got a bigger crowd than normal because of the property's fame, but really no different from the typical open house. On second thought, it actually looks like a fancy party more than an open house. I've never felt so underdressed in my life. Weren't you there?
I wasn't really listening.
I should have asked someone to kick you out.
No, you won't.
And what makes you so sure?
One, ever since you got assigned to this property, you've been freaking out about it. Rebecca's words, not mine. She's been complaining to me about how you talked your ears off, by the way. Two, despite your initial qualms about the place, you still took the job, which brings us to three. It's been months since you last settled a deal, and you're short on money right now since you're back to your instant noodle diet.
How do you even know about the last one?
Rebecca. Anyhow, you're hellbent on selling the mansion. Even if someone you know personally is in the tour group, you aren't going to just kick them out. Every single person who went on your open house is still a prospective client to you. Even me.
He's not entirely wrong. Oh man, I walked right into that one, didn't I?
I hate you. I really hate you right now.
His answer's a small laugh. Kind that screams, I'm right, I told you so. I hate it when he does that.
I'll have you know that there's already someone who's extremely interested in this property. So even if you expressed any sort of interest in it, I don't think they'd be willing to let you have it. Too bad.
Provided I didn't botch it up with the rights. Why of all times did I have to screw up like that? In front of an important customer, no less. I owe Rose a big apology. Hope she likes free donuts.
You don't seem too happy about it.
I am happy. Doesn't this look like a happy face to you?
Really? And here I was thinking you found another one stuffed in the sofa. Or is it the wardrobe this time?
He meant that as a joke. But how close it is to the truth made my blood run cold and my own heartbeat a heavy weight in my chest. All at once, the letter in my bag feels a whole lot heavier, burdened by my own guilt and apprehension.
Yeah, well, things happened. Stuff the right couple might not be pleased about. No need to make a fuss about it. It's normal in the business.
You made them angry?
Not angry. Just stuff happened.
Like?
Things.
Did they do anything? Your clients. The rights, was it?
Can't answer that. At least not without revealing everything that took place in the attic.
You keep asking me about my work, yet you haven't said a single word about yours. That's not fair. Both you and Zach have literally disappeared off the face of the earth.
An over-exaggeration, but changing the subject to something else is still better than outright lying to him. Besides, it never works with him. I'm not sure if it's because I'm just bad at it or because he's just really very good at his job. He doesn't answer immediately, only momentarily shifting a glance over at me and returning it back to the road when he has to make a sharp turn. Outside, the sun has already started its descent, casting a vibrant orange glow on the tall buildings. I wonder how long before we reach the venue for Zach's film. Checking the street signs outside, it appears Ash has taken the longer route. Odd, but he's probably trying to avoid the rush hour traffic.
Didn't we just talk a week ago over chat?
That's different. Linking your awful memes in the group chat box every morning isn't exactly a conversation.
Excuse me, I don't hear you calling them awful while you're laughing at all of them.
Shut up! And you aren't answering my question.
That earns him a soft punch to his arm. I did laugh at them, but I'm not going to give him the satisfaction of knowing that I find most of them funny. It'll only make his head bigger. Stupid Ash.
All right. Lay off on the abuse. Remember that case I mentioned before? We've been trying to pin the bastard down, but it required more work than we anticipated. The guy's slippery like that. We got some good lead months ago.
He recounts what he's been doing in the time we haven't seen each other. His usual work, the occasional small investigations, and the big case he's been stuck working on. Stuff he couldn't mention in the brief time we catch each other online. Although most of it are the trimmed down version, only things he can tell. He's always been careful about that. Even in the way he spins his answers to my questions. Just enough to satisfy my curiosity, but not enough to paint the whole picture. At one point, his voice takes on a strange tone as he mentions something about the big case, but I don't dwell on it much. That's normal, right? I mean, who wouldn't be frustrated if you couldn't bring someone to justice because they kept slipping out of your fingers? If I were in his shoes, I'd definitely lose my mind. His stories never cease to be entertaining regardless. If things weren't the way they were back home, maybe I would have considered taking on the same job as him. Well, nope, not really. Mama would never allow it. But the idea is still there, along with the countless others I've let go. Time passes quickly between us in this manner, and before I know it, we're already at the movie house. A small crowd has already formed in front of the theater when we arrive. The Lift Fest, short for Luxborn Independent Film and Theater Festival, attracts a bigger crowd annually, and this year is no different. I've only been to a few indie film screenings with Zach, so I'm not an expert on the matter. But I know that for people hoping to make a break in the industry, getting your film recognized by a local event like this is already a big deal. Especially for a newcomer like Zach. He hasn't even won an award, but just getting a confirmation letter that the festival committee wants to include his movie in this year's lineup already put a grin on his face for weeks. Speaking of the guy, he's impossible to miss. At 6 feet, he appears to loom over most of the moviegoers, and with his large build and heavy voice, there is no surprise when people give him a wide berth as they pass by. It's often easy to mistake him for someone intimidating at first glance. I did, back when I didn't know any better. Ash did too, I heard. Once, early in their friendship.
Oh, there's Zach!
Hey, you guys! Long time no see!
Zach's face lights up with a smile of his own. He moves towards us with careful steps, taking a significant effort to make himself smaller so as not to bump or accidentally hit anyone. Typical Zach. As he nears, Ash casually raises his hands in greeting and,
Sup, Z-Man, my main man. What's crack-a-lackin', my homie?
The awkwardness that descends within the immediate vicinity of our small group is palpable enough. Somewhere to our left, a girl giggles, and only then do I become aware of my mouth hanging open. I'm almost amazed at how Ash can say that out loud with a straight face. Almost. Considering his track record, I should be used to it by now. Zach seems to be.
Yo, stop trying to act black, Ashton. And you're the only one who calls me Z-Man.
There's fondness underneath his exasperated tone. If this were any other person, he'd likely be offended. But years of friendship and familiarity have made those words harmless to each other's ears. Or at least enough for both to take it in stride.
It's been a while, Zach.
I hope you didn't get into trouble again.
Not much to get into trouble lately without you, I'm afraid. I'll let you know if something comes up, though.
Nah, I ended up with chicken down stuck on me last time I agreed. I'd really love at least this year to pass without some sort of accident happening again.
Hey, I take offense to that. It wasn't that bad.
You really have no idea.
A beat passes. And then, Zach laughs.
Hey, I'm kidding. You know you can always count on me.
It's a story only the two of them are privy to. Every now and then, Ash will enlist Zach's help on something. Becca and I never really found out what the real deal is with those adventures, as Ash calls it, and both aren't willing to tell due to some unspoken agreement. She insists that if it's Ash, it's likely not something illegal or life-threatening. I tend to believe her on that. Sometimes. Oh well, boys will be boys, I guess. I give Zach a small wave from behind Ash when his attention eventually turns to me.
Bella! Huh? Rebecca's not with you. Is she still sick?
A bit. But she's up and went to work this morning. You know she doesn't listen to anyone that's not Ash.
Yes, she does.
No, she doesn't. You're literally the only person she'll listen to when she's feeling stubborn.
And it's true. They've known each other for far longer than any of us in the group, childhood friends and all.
But don't worry, Zach. She's probably on her way here now. She promised she wouldn't miss your movie. Isabella! Oh, thank goodness!
Oh. Speak of the devil. Without warning, a hand grabs me by the shoulder and turns me around.
Becca, you're just in time!
I have to lean back a little with the way her face almost invades my personal space. But she places her hands on either side of my head to keep me still. She stares at me intently, concern in filling her eyes.
Becca, you're squishing my face. How are you? Are you all right? Why wouldn't I be?
Rose called me earlier.
Those 4 words tell me all I need to know. Since I don't have my family living close by and the only other relative I have works on the far side of the country, I gave my company Becca's contact number in case of emergency. I should have known Rose would call her. I push Becca's hands away from my face. Although she lets go, her eyebrows remain drawn together.
Oh, no, everything's good. Rose covered for me at work today.
That's not what I'm talking about. How's your head?
Beside me, Ash snickers. I bite back the urge to elbow him in place of trying to avoid Becca's hand, as she tries to reach out for the set area. I do my best to dodge her, all at once moving to hide behind Zach. Sorry for using you as a human shield, Zach.
Oh, it's nothing. I just slipped off a few steps on my way down. I blacked out for a few seconds and had a minor bump, but it's just that.
You blacked out? It's not something to brush off. Come on, at least let me check it.
It's extremely minor. You wouldn't even know it's there.
Isabella, this isn't a laughing matter.
She did look pale when I saw her.
Wow. Thanks a lot, Ashton, you traitor. I'll get you back for this. Just you wait.
What? I'm just saying it as it is. If you mentioned this earlier, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
I'm sorry. Saw her?
Yeah, they arrived together. Bella looked fine to me then. I don't know.
Something crosses Becca's face, and it's gone before I can figure out what it is.
Oh, that's good. At least she didn't have to travel alone, right? At least. Good.
See? I'm okay. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. And I don't want to miss Zach's film.
We can always watch it some other time. Sorry, Zachary.
No, it's good. But you guys should really keep it down. We're starting to attract some attention.
It's the premiere. The premiere's different. Right, Zach?
I shoot him a pleading look. Zach's a sensible guy. He'll understand. Please understand.
Not really. But Rebecca has a point. In the end, I think it's your call.
Oh, for heaven's sake!
Please, Becca.
You're not missing it. We're just moving it on a different day so we can have a...
Look, you guys.
Ash's loud sigh unexpectedly cuts through the conversation. He's pinching the bridge of his nose as he speaks, something he usually does when he's getting impatient.
If she says she's okay, then there's nothing we can do about it. It's not like we can stop her either. Besides, she's still acting like the same old Isabella to me, if she can still run around like that.
Why are you taking her side?
I'm not. But if she wants to watch Zach's movie with us, I'm not going to stop her. She's probably the one looking forward to it the most.
Ash, that's... You, of all people, should know...
Tell you what, if I notice something amiss with her, I'll take her to the nearest hospital myself. Is that good enough for you?
I already know the answer before Becca voices it out. When at last she releases a deep breath and nods, albeit with great reluctance, I immediately tackle her into a hug.
Thanks, Becca.
It's always been you with him, isn't it?
Did you say something?
Me? Nothing. Don't mind me.
If you say so.
Okay, guys, showtime's close, so I think I'm gonna get us some snacks. My treat. And then let's head inside. Anyone here has a smaller bill?
I think I do. Hold on.
I pull myself off from Becca to get my wallet from my bag, and
What's this?
it's already in Ash's hands before I can even reach it. Behind him, Becca and Zach are both giving the piece of paper an intrigued look.
No! Give it back!
It's just a paper.
I don't care! Give it!
Looks ancient, too. Why do you keep this around?
I try to reach for it, but he holds the paper way above my head. I've never been particularly sensitive about my own height, but right now I really wish I'd had that advantage over him.
Don't open it!
What's the big deal? It's not like it's a love letter. I don't see any reason to... Hold on a second. This is, isn't it?
Even if it is, it's not for you.
Okay. Now I'm curious.
I'm telling you, it's nothing like that. It's...
The rest of my words are lost when he unfolds the paper. I can't breathe. My heart feels stuck in my throat, pounding, threatening to burst out. Vaguely, I note how my hands are trembling at my sides. Clasping them together doesn't do any good. They're still shaking, but I hang on to them regardless. The awful, sick weight that has taken its core in my stomach back in the open house returns full force. How do I fix this? How do I fix this? How do I fix this? Someone please. Today is turning out to be a horrible nightmare.
Send this to 5 people or else. Well, that's interesting.
Guys, I think we should listen to Bella first.
Aren't you a few days early for Halloween?
Ash waves the paper in front of me, giving me a fleeting glimpse of its contents. I don't need to see it. I don't want to see it. The letters, the words, every stroke written in blood is already embedded in my mind. Maybe I should have just thrown it away when I had the chance. That way.
It's not a prank.
It makes all of them stop. Even I'm surprised at how steady my voice is.
What did you say?
This isn't a prank! I saw something!
Hold on. Are we still talking about this paper? Or is it about the urban legend again?
Both. I know it sounds ridiculous.
You're saying this is a primitive version of a chain letter, and now that we've seen it, we're now cursed. You've got to be kidding me.
See? This is why I didn't want to tell you guys.
Isabella, aren't you taking this a bit too far?
It's not a joke! Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in the house earlier. It stood right in front of me. If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have...
Right. And in broad daylight, Isabella. Even someone gullible would find the logic in that screwed up.
There's also no way in hell that this supernatural shit is true.
But it's real! What do you think I saw?
A hallucination? A delusion? Didn't you say you fell down some stairs? So maybe Rebecca's right.
It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with that thing. We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me?
We are, and you know that. But this thing and that thing has got nothing to do with the other. When Rose called earlier, I thought she's just exaggerating. But based on what I'm seeing right now, maybe it's better if we really postpone this for now.
Don't bother.
Without another word, I snatch the letter out of Ash's hands and stuff it back into my bag with more force than necessary. I'm tired. I got cursed, saw a ghost, probably lost a sale, got kicked out of the open house I'm supposed to be hosting, my own friends won't believe me, and all of them think I'm crazy. To top it all off, there's a dull ache at the back of my head begging for a little attention I can't afford to give it right now. Honestly, there's only so much a person can take within a single day. I just want to go home, curl up in my bed, and never think about today. But before I can take a single step away from the group...
Guys!
Zach rarely ever raises his voice, even when there's a point he wants to drive home. And hearing him take on that tone completely throws me off. Even Ash and Rebecca, whatever harsh words yet to come out from the argument, immediately die on our tongues.
Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons too. And hey, ain't this supposed to be a happy get-together? We haven't seen each other for months. I'd really love to know what y'all have been up to. I only ever get to talk to Bella over chat. Please.
He has a point. Ash, for all his attempts to look cool and distant, has also been looking forward to this. He even took the time to call this morning for a reminder. He never does that. Becca too. I'm pretty sure that's another reason why she got out of bed today. Yet, despite Zach's attempts to lighten things up, or Ash's and Becca's acquiescing gestures, the tightness in my chest remains. I should have just kept it to myself, or at least went with the idea that it's a prank. If I did, things might not have turned out the way they had. No sour mood, no bad vibes. Careless, so careless. Maybe leaving is the better decision for all of us. Nope. Any other day, I'd excuse myself and go straight home. But this is something special to Zach. Something he's worked so hard to bring to life. I should know better. I might be having a bad day, but being with the few people I care about far outweighs the idea of spending the rest of my day throwing a tantrum alone in my room. And what if the thing in the attic follows me home? I don't want to be left alone with my thoughts either. I can still see it whenever I close my eyes. Maybe if I stay, let our heads cool down first before telling them what happened, they'll listen to me. There's nothing you can't solve with a calm head. One step at a time, Isabella. That's what Mama used to tell me. Besides, I don't have the heart to ditch Zach. The smile's back on my face when I look back at them.
If we keep arguing here, we're going to miss the first few minutes.
All right, that's the Isabella I know.
Oh, good. I thought for sure you were going to cry.
This time, I really do send an elbow straight to his stomach. Stupid Ash. Being vertically challenged has its perks too.
What was that for?
Stop calling me a crybaby! I'm not one.
Aw, don't cry.
Stop it!
Okay, scaredy cat then.
That too. If you repeat that, I swear I'll...
Let's just go.
Without another word, Becca goes inside. She doesn't even stop to wait for us when I call after her. Ash and I exchange looks at that, the same question likely swimming inside our minds. Did something happen at school after I left? Is she having a bad day too? I'll try asking her about it later, I guess.
So, you guys go catch up with her. I'll go get us the food I promised.
But you'll miss it.
Didn't you say watching a movie without food ain't fun? And it ain't like I haven't seen it. I made it, remember? I'll be in there soon.
One friendly tap on my shoulder, and then he's gone. A few moviegoers are still milling about, some are still waiting in line for tickets, but otherwise most of the crowd are already inside. There's nothing much for us to do here now. Not a word of protest comes from me when Ash gestures for the two of us to head inside.
And then?
Are you sure it wasn't one of the cleaning crews?
Absolutely sure.
Somehow, halfway through the movie, the conversation steered towards what happened in the mansion. To be fair, Zach was the one who brought it up again. In his own movie premiere. Now the film's just serving as background noise while we speak in hushed tones, careful not to disturb anyone inside the small hall. Well, except for Ash. I just hope we don't end up arguing about it again. We'd all get kicked out for sure. Though with how loud Ash's voice is, we'll probably get thrown out way before any argument happens. Only Becca still remains engrossed in the movie, completely ignoring us. She's been quiet the whole evening, speaking only when referred to. If I didn't know any better, I'd think we did something that offended her. Did we?
And then I ran. You heard what happened after.
I still think it's something else.
It was standing right in front of me, Ash.
He is one of the smartest people I know, but geez, he should learn to listen. Plus, didn't he say he doesn't believe in these things? Why is he in this conversation again?
I heard what you said, but it's a small room. There are a lot of things someone else could have done there without your knowledge. If I could see it up close, maybe I can...
I am not going back there.
Ain't that a problem if you're hosting an open house?
Very good point.
Rose does the first floor tour.
I ain't sure ghosts can be restricted to one room, Bella.
Yeah.
There are no ghosts, Zach. Stop putting useless ideas in her head.
Yeah, but I was thinking, maybe all the house needs is a blessing. Wasn't it left uninhabited for years?
Oh. The house did change hands over the years, from one distant relative of the Ermengardes to the other. None of them bothered to live in it, though, and it remained that way up until its current owners decided to sell it. Why didn't I think of that?
I didn't peg you as the religious type, Zach.
Nothing like that, Ash. Who knows, though? It might bring something positive to the place.
That's not a bad idea. I just don't know where I could find someone.
You're not seriously considering his suggestion, are you?
Do you have a better idea?
I know where. I could contact him for you if you want.
You do that?
Or we can find you a psychologist instead.
There are very few times in my life when I wish my glowers can kill. This is one of those.
Ash, that is not a very appropriate thing to say right now.
No, wait, that's not what I meant.
Yeah, asshole, what did you mean?
Ethnographer. I meant ethnographer. This guy's a psychologist too, of course, if you...
Ashton, if you don't stop...
Rebecca knows the guy I'm talking about too. She can vouch for him.
Rebecca tears her eyes away from the screen at the mention of her name.
Huh? What? Oh, are you talking about Professor Andrew? He used to work with my parents at the university. Can you guys keep it down?
Sorry, the scaredy cat here mentioned curses. Not that I'm saying this is one, but talking to him is a better solution for me than getting a random priest to bless an old house. He'll even help you figure things out, teach you a couple things, and probably put your fears to rest since this looks to be bothering you a lot.
Hash might be right, too. However, what Zach suggested is something I'm more familiar with. Granted, they don't believe me. They're only giving me these suggestions to put my mind at ease. But it's better than being ignored or being laughed at. I can take comfort in knowing they're at least willing to help me out.
So, what do you think?
It's your call. We'll go with whatever you want.
I don't know.
Who should I meet? Okay, so... in the last video we did with the third variant for Isabel, we went with the priest. So today we are going to meet with the professor.
I'll think about it, but if ever, I'd like to give talking to Andrew a try. Is that okay? Won't he have other things to do?
He is a bit busy, but he'll make time for me. He's my go-to person when I'm stuck in something. He won't mind if I bring a friend with me this time.
If you're sure.
I guess that settles it then.
Guys, I said keep it down. You keep insisting that we still watch it, yet you're not even paying attention yourselves.
It ain't a big deal, Rebecca. I'm the one who broached the subject in the first place.
It's still your film, Zachary. A good film, mind you. You worked hard on this. The least we could do is watch it with you.
And that's what you're all doing. I really appreciate all of you making time for this.
Sorry, Becca. We'll stop now.
I throw her an apologetic look, even if Ash is the only one she should be reprimanding. But her attention's already back on the screen. She's ignoring us again. When Becca's acting this way, there's a big chance something's nagging at her. We really need to talk. We all fall into a comfortable silence after, the kind you can only share with people you're most at ease with. For the first time today, the letter lays forgotten in my bag, if only for a few hours. Night has fallen by the time we exit the movie house. Despite the late hour, the streets are still bustling full of people. Those about to head home, those set to meet someone, even those simply wandering about. Walking in the sea of unfamiliar souls, it strikes me how easy it is for one to get lost in a city as nondescript as Luxborn. I was afraid too. At one point, back when I was new and had just set foot in this place. Now, with familiar faces walking with me, it feels a little like home. Zach and Ash bid us goodbye shortly before Becca and I crossed the other end of the street. The former claiming he's got a new freelance job to take care of before the day ends. And Ash? Who knows? He never tells. Sometimes he'll just randomly appear at your doorstep looking for a place to crash. He does that to Zach a lot, much to the latter's frustration. But he's a busy guy too, in spite of the laid-back air he gives off.
Thanks for today, everyone!
No problem, Zach. I'm sorry for what happened earlier. Huh?
A sensation. Cold, sickening, drowning, my chest tightening, breath becoming labored. I can taste blood in my mouth. The edges of my vision blur. In the distance, amidst the countless nameless people going on about their lives, a voice reaches out to me. Pleading, even as I clench my eyes tight and clasp my hands over my ears. Whispering and whispering and whispering. Calling out.
No, not me.
Somebody.
Isabella? Earth to Isabella?
At her voice, the whole world suddenly snaps into place. The murmur's gone. When I open my eyes, Becca raises an eyebrow at me in question.
Weren't you listening? Are you coming with me?
Oh, yeah. Just, okay. Sorry, I spaced out.
You always do that.
I follow her without complaint, but not before sneaking a glance to the far end of the street. Where the voice came from. Where another set of eyes might be staring at me. Nothing. There are only Zach and Ash watching over us as we head back to where Becca parked her car. If I'm expecting to see something or someone there, I try not to let it show. Try not to think of the tiny pinpricks of fear crawling at the pit of my stomach.
See you guys some other time.
Yeah, see ya.
Another glance. And with a final wave, we go our separate ways. I don't know what I said. I don't know what I heard. I don't want to know. And if this is what would help me sleep at night, or would give back that normalcy in my life, then so be it. The darkness closes around me, grasping, pulling, engulfing me. The ground caves in, and without warning, I'm falling. My eyes snap open. For an instant, it doesn't immediately register where I am. Both my back and shoulders ache after I've fallen asleep all hunched up the night before. Drenched in sweat, the nest of pillows I often keep around me feels more suffocating than comforting. I let my eyes adjust to the bright morning light streaming through my window and allow my breathing to slow down before untangling myself from the pile. I haven't had a single dream since coming to Luxborn, or at least none that I can recall having. It's a shame, because they used to be so vivid. Not the crazy vivid, but the more pleasant kind I'll tell my siblings about. Maybe it's just the stress of living alone? The knowledge that I'll always wake up in an empty apartment with no one to tell stories to.
What time is it?
That habit forces me to look over at the clock, even with the soreness weighing heavily on my shoulders, and the compulsion to never leave my bed for the day. In a heartbeat, I'm up.
Oh man, of all the times to oversleep! Towel! Towel! Where's my towel?
Admittedly, it's the weekend. As an unspoken rule, that entitles me to extra hours of sleep. But if Rose didn't kill me yesterday, she sure as hell will now. Right after what happened. Oh Lord, one box of donuts as peace offering won't be enough the second time around. Grabbing my towel, I'm already a few short steps away from the bathroom when a muffled ring breaks out from my bag. There's a moment of indecision at first, my mind conflicted whether I should just ignore or answer it. But what if it's Rose? Or worse, our boss? Ah, sheesh. In the end, the rational part of my brain wins out. The letter from yesterday peeks out when I pull the device out. Just the sight of it is enough to put me in a foul mood, and it takes every force of will for me to ignore it in favor of answering the call. The caller ID reads, Mama.
Huh?
It's around 4:45 p.m. in the Philippines right now.
That's an unusual time for them to call.
Usually it's around noontime here, and I'm the one calling, not the other way around. Better for them to use that money on something else than an international call. Regardless, in the most cheerful tone I can gather.
Hello?
Hello? Grace? How are you?
Mama! I'm doing okay. How are you guys over there?
We're good. EJ won a storytelling contest at school the other week. Brought home a medal. I thought you should know.
There's a tired lilt in her voice as she speaks. It's been there since Papa had to leave his job. I wish there was something I could do for her. But from miles away like this, the least I'm able to do is not make her worry. If only my older brother would actually lend her a hand. But Lord knows if that'll ever happen. Odds are, Kuya Jordan's already out drinking right now. Again. Can't count on my older sister either, knowing she has a family of her own and, well, Ate Ann's financial situation isn't exactly great right now, having ran herself knee-deep in debt.
Great! That's great! Tell him congratulations from me. And let him know I'm gonna send him a little something extra this Christmas. How about Nico? Karen? Michael? I hope they're okay?
They're doing well. They wanted to talk to you, but they're all busy with school.
Oh no, that's fine. I don't want to bother them. Just tell them to keep doing their best for me. I'll just call back when I know they're not busy. And Papa? How's Papa doing?
It's a subject I'm a bit hesitant to broach. From the way Mama's voice hitches, she doesn't want to bring it up either.
Papa. Grace, he's having a little difficulty right now. Weak appetite, he's having trouble swallowing, and lost a few pounds, but the doctor said we should keep encouraging him. It just means his body's accepting his new treatment well. The money you sent last time helped a lot to pay for it, by the way.
Oh, I see. That's good.
I won't deny that life has gotten tougher for our family. It used to be easy back when Papa was in good shape. But ever since he was diagnosed with a sickness 5 years ago, he's been unable to provide for us. Now the burden of feeding 8 mouths and settling Pop's bills all rests on my shoulders. Although Mama makes a little, accepting sewing and laundry jobs in our neighborhood, it's scarcely enough to cover the costs of day-to-day living, let alone the bloated hospital bills. We can't even expect help from our own government because the health insurance there barely covers anything.
I'm sure he'll get better soon. Is he well enough to talk? Do you think I'll be able to speak to him, Ma?
Silence. I start to think that the call got caught, but...
Listen, Grace. Maybe it's better if we transfer Papa to a different hospital. Somewhere cheaper?
What? Why? Did something happen? Is it the deposit issue again? Give me the hospital's number. I'll talk to them.
No, it's nothing bad. The service here is good. Too good. Even the doctors. But I'm worried you're working yourself to the ground because of it.
Mama, we've been through this before. I want the best for Papa. And don't worry about the bills or the medicine, or me for that matter. I can handle myself. Everything's going well here. In fact, we're about to close a large sale.
Hopefully. If not, then I'll find another way. She doesn't need to know that. Sorry, Mama. You taught me not to lie, yet look at what I'm doing.
I'll have money to send over soon to cover the rest of Papa's treatment. And there's more than enough for Karen, Nico, Michael, and EJ's school tuition, too.
Thank you so much, dear. I appreciate it. We all do. But I just wish you'd come home to us soon.
Ah. Kailan ka uwi? When are you coming home? EJ, the youngest, used to be the only person asking me that. How do you respond to a question you don't have a definite answer to? 5 years later, and I still can't give them a straight one. I smile, though Mama can't see it. I fight to keep my lips from quivering, my voice from shaking. She's got enough on her plate as it is. No need to weigh her down with unnecessary concerns.
Promise me you'll be there to welcome me when I do, okay?
Of course. I'm sorry, Grace. I need to take this for a while.
There's a small commotion on the other end. Sound of gates opening, the voice of a child, EJ, talking excitedly about his day at school, the tapping of feet on the floorboards as he runs. It's been years since I went home, but I can still picture the whole scene in my mind. How tall is he now? Are the neighborhood kids bullying him now that I'm not around? Did Mama rearrange the furniture in the living room again? What are they having for dinner today? I miss them. I miss them so much.
It's okay, Ma. I need to go too. I've got work today. I'll call again soon, alright?
On a Saturday? Oh, never mind. Take care of yourself, dear. I love you.
I love you. Bye.
It ends with a soft click, leaving half-truths and empty promises hanging in the air. Closing my eyes for a moment, I take a deep breath and shake away the thoughts beginning to swim inside my head. It's pointless to mull over these things right now.
Okay, Isabella. Time to get that mansion sold.
Unfortunately, before I can take a single step away from my phone, it rings again. No doubt Mama forgot to say something.
Mama? Did you forget anything?
Excuse you? I'm too young to be your mom. Are you still sleeping? Hold on, never mind that. Get yourself in the office. Hurry!
Office? What about the open house? Oh no. Is it Sir John? Did he hear about yesterday? Am I in trouble? Oh god, oh god, oh god! I'm gonna get yelled at, aren't I? What do I do? I'll buy you an extra box of donuts if...
No, it's nothing like that. Will you calm down? Get yourself here, alright? I'll tell you everything then.
There's the telltale din of several feet shuffling against a wooden flooring and an indistinct yelling in the background before Rose cuts the connection. That isn't in any way comforting, but it's enough reason for me to hastily discard my phone and finish my shower in record time. I make it to her office within 20 minutes of leaving my apartment, completely disheveled and out of breath. A feat if I take into account my usual travel time. Routine clamor, common to Breyer Realty Corporation's Luxborn office, greets me as soon as my feet crosses the threshold. Papers rustling, telephones ringing at sporadic intervals, agents talking at varying volumes, staff moving about, and...
Where the hell is C? Where are my employees? What the actual fuck, guys? Of all the times to disappear without notice!
My boss's words turn muffled as someone else closes the door to his office, likely the work of our HR manager. Throughout the past week, he's been in a bad mood over a few employees who have failed to report to work. I hear they're still trying to get a hold of them, but to no avail. The result is half their workload have been shifted to all available staff so as not to lose clients. Not that I mind the extra work. If anything, it means I'll have more to send to my family back home. Although the rumors of the branch closing circulating because of this is indeed a bit worrisome. My bag barely touches the top of my table when Rose pulls me aside.
Here, I need you to help me with these papers. If you could also get these signed and photocopied before lunch today, that would be great.
One after another, she thrusts a bunch of paperwork in my hands without explanations. A page flutters away from the top of the pile, and I lean down to pick it up, my eyes scanning the top of the page as I straighten. A purchase and sale agreement. Rose simply gestures her thumb in the direction of our visitor lounge when I tilt my head in question. There, seated on the sofa and looking completely out of place in the humbly decorated room, is the same couple from the day before. The Wrights. Something bubbles up in my throat. Their presence in the office can only mean one thing.
They're buying it? We got a deal?
She swats at my hand, tugging her sleeve, though her eyes are alight with something akin to joy. She wants this sale to happen as much as I do. And now that it's here, the deal needs to be closed, yet documents need to be signed still, but the elation there, along with a foreboding feeling I can't quite pinpoint.
I had to do a little damage control, but they're already interested in acquiring the property, even before they attended the open house. I mean, isn't it obvious? They already hired an interior designer. I've never seen a buyer as aggressive as Madame Wright. She didn't even try to negotiate a lower rate.
One at a time, Rose. I can't process everything you're saying at once. What do you mean?
They're paying 15% higher than the listing price, as long as we get the paperwork done as soon as possible. I think if we allow it, they'll be paying up front, too.
Even with that urban legend?
Rose nods.
Oh, I was so sure we lost the sale after yesterday.
Don't look so surprised. We still have to conduct some last few checks before we completely hand it over to them.
Please. I'll happily do the paperwork duty, Rose. I'll even go to the land registry myself and make sure the property changes hands with every single legal blessing.
Don't they have better things to spend money on? I'd haggle it down to the lowest possible price if I were in their place, especially with the stories attached to it. Not that my opinion matters one bit here. We're just their agents who are going to receive the hefty commission after all, nothing more. Rose gives me a pat on the shoulder, signaling that she's heading back to them, and an unspoken instruction for me to follow after I'm done. It doesn't take me long to finish what work she left me. In fact, having our boss sign the agreement is the easiest, since it has put him in a better mood to the entire office's relief. Ma'am Hannah calls me over the moment she notices my presence at the lounge door. She welcomes me with a bright smile, her movements more open than what one would typically expect from a passing client to have.
Oh, Isabel! How are you feeling? You looked awfully dreadful yesterday.
Isabella, I'm fine now, ma'am. I appreciate your concern.
I really don't understand why they can't get my name right. It's a fairly common name. It shouldn't be too hard to remember. Regardless, I hand them their copy of the agreement.
Wonderful. Your team works unbelievably fast.
Ma'am Hannah skims through each one of them with a scrutinizing eye, checking every page for any inconsistencies and errors. Despite the unassuming impression she gives off, she appears fully aware of what to look for in the process contracts like these undergoes. It is surprising, to be quite honest. I haven't pegged her for someone who was well versed in these things, yet here she is. She shows some of it to her husband, and he responds with the same passive interest as if she's more than happy to leave everything to her. I can't tell if it's purely because he believes she's capable enough, doesn't care about what they're buying, or he simply finds paperwork tedious. Apparently satisfied with what she's seen, Ma'am Hannah clasps her hands together before extending it for us to shake. Rose and I release the breath we've been holding, both of us more than happy to return the gesture.
That settles it then?
Are you really sure about this property, ma'am? We could easily find you a bigger one among our current listings. Something with a modern touch?
Something not haunted, maybe? Rose shoots me a warning glance that clearly says, "Don't make a scene, we're almost there."
Of course, why wouldn't I be? The house is absolutely perfect, isn't it, darling?
A helipad would still be a nice addition.
Yes, well, we'll get there eventually, love. As I was saying, if your partner had the documents yesterday, we would have bought it right there immediately. Shame she didn't have it.
Well, there's still a few necessary documents we need you to sign after, but we'll let you know once we have those finalized. We'll be handling the process for the rest, so don't worry about it, ma'am.
Within a week, I hope. We still have a housewarming party to plan after all. You know how much thought to be put into those things.
There are servants for that, darling.
Love, wouldn't it be better if we handled it ourselves? A personal touch of sorts. It is our housewarming party and our new home.
No more than a week, ma'am. Barring unexpected delay, of course. You can leave it to us.
Excellent. Well then, I'll leave you two to it. It's been a pleasure doing business with you. Oh, and before we forget...
She discreetly folds something into both our hands and winks, a finger raised to her lips demanding our silence.
I know both of you worked hard on getting us this beautiful mansion. Did I mention we reward our people generously?
But this is... Ma'am, I can't accept this.
Don't you worry, darling. It's a small thing coming from us. Consider this your bonus for a job well done.
She smiles sweetly like this. She smiles sweetly. Like this is the most normal thing to do in the world.
Oh, before I forget, my lovely interior designer would appreciate it if you hand her a copy of the floor plan as soon as possible. She's dying to work on the house. You can do that, yes? Here's her contact.
Certainly, ma'am.
We'll have it processed as soon as possible.
I knew I could count on you, lovelies. I hope to see you two soon so we can get this closed.
Just like that. Transaction over and done with. My mind's still reeling even after they've left. Other agents would kill to have clients like them. Part of me feels lucky about the fact. No lengthy negotiations, no sudden change of minds, just talk, signatures, a few handshakes here and there, and we're done. The other part? A second ago, we sold a haunted property to 2 innocent clients. Sure, the commission's big enough to continue funding Papa's treatment and hospitalization, big enough to pay for all 4 of my younger siblings' schooling. Heck, it'll keep me away from the instant noodle diet for months. I don't have to go back to the mansion as well once the deal's been closed, much to my sanity's relief. But knowing that something's in there, and we gave it to the good couple despite that? Oh, Isabella, the things you do to sell a house and get money. Papa will not be happy with that. At least I have good news to tell next time I call home. The little lie I told Mama this morning isn't a lie anymore.
Well, there's something. So how does it feel?
How does what feel?
Your first big multi-million-pound sale, silly. I know you've been with us for years, but this has got to be memorable for you.
Memorable is an understatement, Rose.
Come on, show some enthusiasm. They gave us a bonus, too. Aside from the commission and the other bonus boss promised. What are you going to do with it?
I don't know. Send it home, probably?
All of it?
Not everything, of course. Most of it. I'll leave some for my living expenses.
Listen here, Isabella. I'll teach you something I should have told you before we ended your training.
She slings an arm over my shoulders, leans in closer to my ear as though she's about to share a big secret.
It's okay to celebrate from time to time.
I don't get it.
It's simple. Go out, do something for yourself. Throw a party and treat your friends to free food. Didn't you say the last one's some sort of tradition back at home for you? Hello, this is practically a done deal.
Isn't throwing a party a bit excessive?
Your call. I won't say no to an invitation, by the way, in case you really are planning to throw one. A few drinks would be nice too, thank you very much.
I don't think my apartment's big enough for that.
You could always move? Bloody hell, you're working in real estate.
I think I'll pass. That's too much of an unnecessary expense for me. But I did promise Becca free lunch in case the sale goes well.
You go do that. Hold on a sec.
She quickly removes herself from me to answer the phone on her desk. Her tone shifts from playful to professional in the span of a few seconds.
Today? Not a problem, ma'am. I could bring you a copy of the contract if...
Must be another client. Nothing surprising there. She's one of BRC's top agents no matter how modest she appears. Saleswoman through and through. I, on the other hand, have very little knack for it. Of course I learned eventually. I had to. But someone else will, without a doubt, do a better job. Once, though, in a drunken stupor, Rose told me a story about what could have been. Years ago, wide-eyed, young, and brimming with yet-to-be fulfilled dreams and ambitions, she was a term or two away from a nursing degree. Out of courtesy, I never pressed on the matter further. But maybe it's where the sense of fondness started. A small connection due to one simple experience in our respective lives. Our goals we both let pass us by because of the circumstances we were in.
I'd be happy to discuss this over tea, ma'am. All right, I'll be there. Thank you.
New client?
Reassigned. Have you heard from Mark at all?
Not since the first visit to the mansion. Why? No news from the HR yet?
None at all. Boss thinks he ran away. I doubt it, though. He's too much of a wimp for that. There must be another reason. Who knows? Anyway, I've got to meet this one. I'll see you later.
She throws a wave over her shoulder as she rushes out of the office. The lunchtime bell sounds shortly after, followed by the clatter of fellow agents also heading out for a much-needed break. Ordinarily, there's no need for me to go out. But oversleeping didn't allow me the luxury of packing my own lunch today, if one considers taking an instant noodle cup from my pantry packing lunch. Time to make good on the promise I made to Becca, I suppose. Maybe invite Zach and Ash too? In the end, only Becca and Zach could come. Ash, on the other hand, couldn't be reached. All of my calls went straight to his voicemail. He's at it again. Right here today, gone the next day. Oh well, his loss. We have agreed to meet at a nearby cafe. The same one I frequent with Becca because it's cheap and they give away free bread around closing time. Quaint, a little old-fashioned though, looks a wee bit out of place amidst the city's tall buildings, but we love it all the same. Much like its facade, the interior carries an antiquated charm to it. Vintage art pieces and a row of shelves boasting an expensive collection of books cover the wall. It would have been nice to hang out here for hours on end, but even on a weekend, the place is still packed with people. Thankfully, Becca and Zach have already found seats and are engaged in some casual chatter when I arrive. Strange seeing the two of them without Ash accompanying the other. They've never been particularly close. Sure, they talk when they meet, laugh at the same things when there's something funny, but there's distance. Kind born purely out of differing interests. That or Zach's simply afraid of Becca. It's not impossible, and I wouldn't blame him if he was. He might be the tallest of our group, but everyone knows that it means nothing against Becca's temper. Even I'm a little scared of her.
Zach! Becca! Well, you seem to be in a better mood today. What happened? I know that smile, Belle. Come on, still.
Don't rush me. Let's order food first, okay?
A waitress comes by to take our order. On a normal day, me and Becca would order a hearty serving of their special vegetarian stovies. Zach takes anything with a good helping of meat, sausages, or potatoes in it. But today is a good day. Great, even. And it's not wrong to indulge a little, right?
Today's special. For the three of us.
Even the person jotting down our order looks surprised at today's meal choice. She writes it, nevertheless, and leaves without a comment. Becca furrows her eyebrows, her mouth halfway open, ready to let loose what's likely a string of reprimands.
Don't worry. It's my treat.
The glare she sends my way reminds me of the one I received from Mama when I punched a kid bullying my younger brother 18 years ago. Naturally, I never did it again after she made me apologize the next day. But Becca's far from being my mom. A small, sheepish grin is enough to turn that frown into a defeated sigh. Food arrives in the middle of a funny story from Zach, putting the rest of the conversation on hold as we each serve each other our order. It isn't anything fancy. Pan-roasted sea bass with citrus-dressed asparagus and a portion of mashed potatoes on the side. Or at least that's what the daily special board says. Never did pay any attention to it whenever I come here, since they price at whatever's written way above what I'm willing to spend on food in a single day.
Oh, good. I'm so hungry, I think I'm dying.
You're always hungry.
Hey, not all the time.
Let me guess. You skipped breakfast again.
Not on purpose. I may have overslept by a few seconds today.
Right then. Stop stalling, Isabella. What's this about?
Let us say it, Rebecca. She wouldn't be inviting us out if it wasn't worth hearing out.
Well, we're waiting.
I'm treating you guys to a once-in-a-century thing.
An expected grin breaks out on my face. Except...
I'm sorry, say that again.
And this is important because...
Becca only raises an eyebrow at me, while Zach appears like he didn't get the punchline to another lame joke Ash made, and is desperately searching for someone to explain it. Oh, bummer. Maybe I should rephrase that.
Okay, let me do that again. Guess what, guys? I'm paying! I sold the house!
As the news sinks in, their expressions goes from sheer bewilderment to utter surprise. That's more like it.
You heard me right, ladies and gentlemen. As of today, I'm Maria Isabella Grace Cruz Santos and free from my instant noodle binge.
Seriously?
Hold it, Belle. You sold the house?
Yep.
Which house is this? In Aslam Village? The one with the open house yesterday?
The one and only. Come on, Becca. I know you've got a better memory than that.
Oh, wow. That's...
She lets out a hum. Although she's nodding, she gives the impression of someone who's heard something unbelievable and is still forcing her brain to absorb it. Did she think we wouldn't be able to sell it? Have some faith in me, Becca. Am I not your best friend or what?
You don't believe me?
Words tumble out of my mouth before I could stop them. I've been trying to avoid bringing up yesterday's little spat, and judging from the looks on their faces, it seems they are too. Me and my stupid mouth.
I'm sure it ain't the way you're thinking, Bella.
No, I do believe you. But don't you think the sale happened a bit too fast? The open house only started yesterday, and now you already have a buyer?
It happens from time to time.
Yeah, but look, I'm happy for you. Just yesterday, you've been really worried where to get money for your dad's new treatment. And now, all of a sudden, you have something. What if the sale doesn't push through, or I don't know, they're a fraud, or they suddenly back out? Isn't it a little too early to celebrate?
Rebecca does have a point, Bella. If you haven't closed the deal yet, there's still a chance they'll go back on it.
They don't seem like it to me. The lady appeared to really want it, and she approached me without even finishing the tour.
Pressured me into it, more likely. But I'm not going to tell Becca about that. Knowing her, she'd only worry.
And she already hired someone to handle the house's interior design.
You're joking. Who would do that?
The Wrights, apparently. It's actually pretty funny. She's a bit too excited to get the property, she forgot to buy it. At any rate, they've already signed the agreement today, so it's just a matter of time. And don't tell anyone about this, but Ma'am Hannah also gave us something extra.
Something as in...
As in, it's why I can treat you two to a free meal.
I'm more surprised you accepted it.
She didn't really give us a choice in the matter. So don't lose sleep over this, okay? The couple really want the house.
Sorry about that, guys.
If Rose didn't stop them, they'd likely have paid up front for it yesterday. That's despite the legends, too. I even tried to show them the letter. But nope. I want this house, darling. Go take all our money.
You don't really think they believe that, do you? I'm pretty sure for them, those are just rumors as well. No one is that superstitious in this day and age, Belle. Well, there's you.
Right. You know what? I'll just eat all of these by myself.
I begin to gather their plates to my side, the food in each, still untouched. A laugh almost escapes my mouth with the way Zach's expression quickly changes to disappointment. Becca's hand interests me just as I'm about to pull her plate closer to me.
I'm kidding! Don't go all pouty on me again. I'm just concerned you'll get hurt if this doesn't happen. I know how badly you want to close this deal for your papa.
I'm sure he's gonna be fine now, though, with the money. They don't know yet. I think I'll call them tomorrow. Let them know things will be easier. Mama said this morning he's showing progress with the new treatment, too. It's just a matter of time.
I allow myself to smile, genuine and uninhibited. It's strange talking about this with other people, even those who have known you long enough. But today, things simply feel a whole lot lighter with them here. Lunch passes in an enjoyable fashion. A laugh here, a playful jab there, but most of it's spent on catching up and telling stories about whatever's keeping us busy these days. Something we couldn't afford to do the day before, taking into account what happened. Even Becca's surprisingly chatty. Is there something in the sea bass we ate? Zach, though, appears less energetic. While he's far from being the life of the party, he's definitely not the type to keep quiet in a conversation with his friends. Apart from a few inputs, he's been silent the entire time. If Becca notices...
Are you sure you're not feeling under the weather, Zachary?
Huh? No, I'm okay. No worries, Rebecca.
Doesn't sound okay to me.
It's okay. I might be feeling a little bummed out today, but I'm sure this will pass.
Is it about the reviews this morning?
Pained expression crosses Zach's face. And almost immediately, Becca retreats in her inquiry as though the man's look is enough of an answer for her. I look between the two of them. Did I miss something? What happened this morning? Did I stumble on a big secret? This is why I don't like waking up late.
You heard about those, huh?
Sorry, I just happened to check on some sites this morning.
Nah, it's a very sensitive topic in the first place. I should have expected it.
What reviews?
Becca glances at Zach, her motions unsure, eyes asking for his consent on the matter. Although there's a small desire to keep asking on my part, I don't dare voice it out. With Zach, it's always been better to wait. Let him speak on his own. Becca too, to some extent, although with her, explosions of temper are more common. In the end, he simply answers with a shift of his shoulders, gesturing for her to go on with the tilt of his head.
It's his movie.
That doesn't explain anything. Stop dangling the information, Becca!
Zachary, I'm not the one supposed to be telling her about this. It's still your documentary.
Is it something bad?
Not bad per se. You guys don't need to dwell on it much.
Bad? Listen here. I wouldn't trivialize what those bowheads wrote if I were you. They're ruining other people's jobs.
From how her tone rises in anger, seems like she's the one slighted, not Zach. A snicker escapes me, which I probably stamp down on as soon as she sends me a hard look.
This isn't a laughing matter, Isabella. Some bowbag just insulted him.
Calm down, Rebecca. Those are just reviews, and it happens a lot.
I do not ken about you two, but calling the entire film an out-and-out dribble, you're better off watching an educational kids' TV show, and worst 1.5 hour of my life, among other things, isn't exactly a critique any decent movie reviewer would say.
No, it is not. They usually, word it more tastefully than that.
If you could call that a critique! Did we even watch the same film?
Well, maybe I ain't cut out for it. Better stick with my photography or something. If nothing else, this helped me open my eyes to what I can and can't do.
You're giving up.
It wasn't a question.
It was just something experimental I did on my free time anyway. It's no big deal.
But you worked on it for months.
Doesn't look like it matters for those people.
Don't say that!
My palms strike the table, sending the tableware on top clinking against each other. I didn't even notice when I rose from my seat. But here I am, chest heaving, looking down at him in the same manner a teacher would at any unruly student. Becca's probably proud. Didn't mean to yell, but there are some things people like Zach aren't supposed to say. How exasperating. He of all people should know.
It's just a review.
Except they're pretty well-known critics.
Why does that matter? They aren't the ones calling the shots on this. Isn't that why they have a committee? Right, Becca?
An amused gleam is in her eye when I turn to her. What does she find so entertaining here? Help me here, your friend's about to quit his passion for a petty reason. I haven't read what those people wrote about his work, but a few scathing words shouldn't be enough to discourage someone. I should know, after all, I'm...
Failing means you're playing, Zach. Not that I'm saying it's bad. I've seen it from start to finish, and I know for myself what you created isn't something people should scoff at. I don't know anything about filming or photography. Hell, I don't have an inkling of artistry in me except for those doodles I make for class. But I know what I watched. Look at Isabella. It's not every day you see her all riled up like this.
Whatever I'm about to say gets lost in my tongue as a flush of embarrassment blooms across my face.
It was a heat of the moment thing. And anyway, I'll be very angry with you if you quit. What about the exhibit?
What exhibit?
Classified information.
Even if I bring you your favorite tonight?
Nope, not a chance.
Oh, come on! I thought we aren't supposed to have secrets.
A burst of laughter comes from Zach.
Thanks, you two. I might need some time alone to myself for a while. Just to think about things, how I'll go from here, that sort of stuff. Hey, I'm not quitting, Bella. Don't give me that face.
There's no face at all. Only a poor imitation of a puppy dog eyes, if you could call this one.
You promise?
I'll be damned if I break any promise I make to you guys. Besides, you're right. It's too early to say anything right now. What's night ain't for another week?
And that's all the answer I need from him. As sentimental as it sounds, there's fulfillment in knowing another person you know won't take the same path you've walked. It's not like it's over for me, though. I still have time. I could still come back. Do my own thing. Do what I really want to do. Surely once Papa recovers, once I'm done with everything. Inside my bag, my phone buzzes unexpectedly, breaking the pleasant afternoon lull. The screen shows Rose.
Hey, Isabella. You at the office?
Ha ha. Very funny, Rose. I'm hanging up.
Don't, I'm kidding.
Imitating Hannah, I guess.
BRC says the floor plan copies are ready for Miss McCullough to pick up.
She states that as if it already explains everything. Then, out of the blue, she launches a big rant about the awful state of Luxborn streets. All of which she says in a single breath that I can barely keep up and make out a single word. I stay quiet, if only to avoid becoming the next object of her frustration. She's similar to Becca in that regard.
I'm stuck in horrendous traffic right now. Bloody stupid drivers.
When she has finally run out of things to complain about and stops, what she says next still has none of what I'm hoping to hear from her. Just a quick mumbled plea for me to meet the right interior designer in her stead and,
Anyway, I'll leave it to you. Bye. Thanks.
Classic Rose. She ends the call without even asking for my input. The sky is colorless and the noontime sky is beating down on the hard concrete when we leave the cafe. It's far from unbearable, but it's enough to put most people in a fickle mood or make them vulnerable to catch something. No wonder we have staff members going AWOL lately. Not to mention my boss's mercurial moods. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I want our usual cloudy weather back. For all the gripes about the unpredictable weather, though, the streets of Luxborn remain constantly busy. The hurried tapping of shoes against the pavement and inane chatter coming from the lunchtime crowd filled the humid afternoon air. A small reminder of the things we still have to do, regardless of how much I want to return to the comfort of my bed. Back to Briar Realty for me, Zach to a meeting with a magazine publisher featuring luxury houses, and Becca to her lesson plans and books at home. But more than once, I catch her sneaking a longing glance over something displayed on a shop window. Does she want to buy something? Maybe I can get it for her for Christmas. I turn my head at the last shop she checked out. A fleeting glimpse. The world stills. She looks at me. Eyes hollow, gaze piercing, and boring into my very soul, like a set of chains to keep my whole body still. There are no shadows or whispers this time. Only a plea. A hum, low and indistinct. Compelling me, beckoning me, intent on dragging me to the void beyond the glass. I don't dare move. My heart hammers against my ribs, each beat, every thump, screaming at me to look away and make a run for it. But I can't. I couldn't. All of my limbs feel heavy while my own breathing strains in the face of her calls.
Leave me alone.
Her mouth is stretched in a grin, wide and unpleasant. Panic building up in my chest forces me to take a tentative step back. I try not to stare at the decaying flesh, blood streaming from the gaping wounds on her arms and her nailless fingers. I don't want this. Not like this. Not after I got what I want for Papa.
No, stop. Leave me alone.
Her face contorts and she lets out a wail, sharp and utterly unforgiving. Rage. There's only hatred, bitterness, as if the very notion of turning away from her is an offense in itself.
Please! I don't want this!
Before I know it, I'm stumbling backwards. My own throat hoarse from the screams I didn't even notice already coming out of my mouth. The back of my feet catches on a loose stone, sending me sprawling on the ground. The resulting pain completely jolts me out of the haze, blurring my mind. For a little while, my surroundings appear unfamiliar until Becca's face swims into my vision. A look of concern is on her face, and her hands are gripping my arms tight. Even Zach appears beside himself with worry while he stands behind her, acting as a shield against the small crowd of onlookers already forming around us.
What happened?
Bella, you okay?
My mouth opens and closes, and nothing comes out. The words refuse to form. On impulse, I sneak a swift glance at the display window. She's gone. Yeah, the foreboding feeling hasn't left me. My hands are shaking as I push myself off the ground, my weakened limbs relying solely on reflex and muscle memory. Something icy's made its home at the pit of my stomach. I want to throw up. Anything to get the wretched sensation out.
You are screaming! Zach, call someone! No, don't! I'm good. I need to get to the office. Rose, the floor plans. Someone's going to pick it up. I'll see you later.
Careful! Don't stand up yet. Stay put, Isabella. Zach, you watch over her for me. I'll call for someone.
I attempt to smile to put her at ease, but it likely comes off as a grimace. Gently, I push her hands off my shoulders. My knees are still trembling, but I can stand. Leave. Leave me. Stay away. Away. The humidity's stifling, everyone's stares are unnerving, and Becca and Zach's concerns are suffocating. I don't want to be here. No more. I break into a run. I wish I hadn't left my bed this morning. Here, with only the occasional drips of water on the sink and the whirling of a fan blade to keep me company, it's easy to fall into a cycle of negative thinking. But even with the clutter to keep me company, the room still feels a whole lot bigger than usual. I hug my knees closer as a group passes by outside. Loud. So loud. If only there was a way to tune everything out, to keep my head from replaying every image, every sound of her. Her screams, her awkward gait as she reaches for me, her bone-chilling smile, her pleas for... Enough. That's enough. A shiver passes over me, though it's not from the hair still hanging damp against my back, nor the draft that enters the room from the window I've left wide open. My gaze shifts over to the letter sitting on the coffee table. Its edge flutters innocuously as the wind touches it. Funny how an ordinary-looking piece of paper can bring this much trouble. The impulse to throw it away or rip it to pieces is still there. I can easily do it, but after that, what? Will she leave me? What about those people who've already seen it? Will they be okay? This uncertainty gnaws at me. Knowing that she's real and might also go after the people I care about? I just wish someone would listen. Believe me. The abrupt break in the silence nearly makes me jump out of my skin. Blindly, I fish out my phone from under the mess of papers and cushions where I've carelessly thrown it before taking a shower hours ago. Ash's name flashes brightly on the screen. Is he calling because of this afternoon?
Thank you so much for spamming my inbox, scaredy cat.
Hey, Ash.
What's wrong?
I just had a long day. The couple who bought the house wanted us to finish processing the papers within the week. It's a little hectic, but we'll manage.
Really? You sold it?
Don't sound so surprised. I told you, you don't stand a chance. The rights won't take no for an answer. You've been on the losing end from the very start. Ha!
Whoever said I was interested in the house in the first place?
But you said...
Despite his light tone, his snicker only comes off as annoying to my ears. I have to fight the urge to end the call right then and there. Stupid Ash.
You're such an ass. And just so you know, I'm not treating you to a separate celebration. Or ever.
No, that's just unfair. And here I was looking something up for you. Didn't you say you wanted to talk to Andrew?
I pause. I did say that. But I didn't think he'd actually go through the trouble, considering how much he scoffed at the whole topic in the first place.
Is he okay with that?
Totally. Besides, I need to ask him about something. I might as well do it soon. What do you say you come with me tomorrow morning?
Well, there's no harm in it, I suppose. I've got a free day anyway.
Great, I'll just pick you up. Don't oversleep.
Don't compare me to you. I'm not the one who sleeps like a rock.
Another round of chuckles comes from him. Oh, I will live for the day he'll stop making fun of me. Just you wait, you asshole. As I'm about to end the call, he clears his throat.
And, Isabella?
His sudden different tone sends my eyebrows shooting up into my hairline. Is the world ending today?
Yeah? Did you forget something?
Do you think
he's trying to ask her out.
Never mind. Good night.
And he chickened out. Hangs up instantly. Rude. Completely rude. I didn't even get to thank him. Busy tone, though muffled, echoes through the receiver. No one is saying this will work. Even I'm doubtful it will. But right now, I'll take anything. Anything to get out of this nightmare. Sleep comes easier tonight. And for the first time in a long time, I dream. Of clear skies, of unrestrained laughter from children playing in the streets, and of small, cramped dwellings. To an outsider, the sight does not paint a pretty picture. However, this is home to me. Morning dawns bright and clear the following day. Although the air still feels muggy and I miss the chilly autumn weather, it's one of those rare weekends when I'm up even before my alarm rings. If it wasn't for Ash's call last night, I'd probably sleep in. When 9 o'clock rolls around, I'm already heading downstairs where Ash is waiting for me in his car. His hair is a disheveled mess, eyes drowsy, and overall looking like he hurried to get out of bed. Or fell out of it. Or both. He looks adorably rumpled this way. But I'm not going to tell him that. It'd only bloat his unbearable ego.
Good morning, Ash.
He makes a motion with his fingers around his ears. Tone it down.
Can you even drive?
He answers with a slight raise of his hand, a yawn, and nothing more. He has never been particularly fond of mornings, and for that I'm thankful to every god in the universe. Less mental capacity for him to make fun of me. Ha! There's the reason why mornings are my favorite. It doesn't take long for us to reach our destination. The small cafe is situated in Luxbourne's busiest street, the same one I'd often visit with Becca for its cheap food. I've never gone here on a Sunday, and it's striking how different it appears without the usual weekday and Saturday rush. The atmosphere especially reminds me of something we also have back home, near the university I used to attend. I wonder what happened to it. It was being renovated before I left, so I never got to visit one last time. The place always had a calming effect on me. But today, despite standing in a place similar to it, anxiety easily washes over me as soon as I step out of the car. I'm quite used to dealing with people I've never met before, thanks to my work, but still, I don't know him. In spite of the fact both Ash and Becca have vouched for him, what will he think of me and my story? What if he thinks I'm crazy? Hell, even my own friends think so. I draw in a breath to quell the panic beginning to rise in me. Oh well, only one way to find out. A few hesitant steps forward, and then Ash is suddenly pulling me back by my elbow.
Hold on, scaredy cat, not too fast.
Without warning, he flicks my forehead hard.
That hurts! What was that for?
He's already walking away when I look up, and I hurry to catch up to him, puzzled. I really don't understand this guy. At least explain why you're flicking other people's foreheads all of a sudden. So rude.
Get yourself together, will you? He's not going to bite. He's very accommodating, too.
I wasn't scared of him or anything.
You don't look like it. Didn't sound like you were okay last night either.
Huh?
What was that last one? Hey! Don't just ignore me!
All questions and retorts die in my mouth once he opens the door to the shop. A cast iron bell attached to it chimes softly, announcing our arrival. The smell of freshly brewed coffee welcomes us as soon as we step inside. Like the usual, several tables and chairs have been set up for the patrons, but most of the customers have forgone them in favor of the more comfortable throw pillows and bean bags the staff had laid out on the floor. Becca would love to know that they have something like this on Sundays. She's been complaining how uncomfortable the library chairs are for a long time now. Ash leads me to a secluded spot near the window, where an old man, probably in his 50s or 60s, is seated enjoying a brew and a book.
Professor Clark.
It's just Andrew now. I'm no longer your professor, Detective Inspector Frey.
The guy, Andrew, looks up from his book and gives him a smile. A sheepish look crosses Ash's face at the older man's admonishment. More unusual, in my opinion, is seeing him appear like a parent has just scolded him. But it suggests a familiarity between them, one that goes beyond what someone expects from a simple student and mentor. With another warm smile, he gestures for us to take the empty seat opposite him.
Have you been waiting long?
Quite some time, but I come here early on weekends. Best time to get their first serving of bear claws. They're the only place that serves it here. I took the liberty of ordering for you two. I hope you don't mind. I thought it'd be best to talk over a decent helping of coffee.
Soon enough, a waiter brings us 2 more cups and sets down a basket of pastries.
Aren't you going to introduce the lady?
Ah, right. Sorry. Isabella, this is Prof. Andrew. He's one of my professors back at the university. Andrew, this is Isabella Santos.
Santos. Portuguese? Spanish? Brazilian? Mexican?
Nope, none of those.
Filipina, actually. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor.
Ah, your name carries a lot of history, Miss Santos. Just Andrew is fine. Don't do what Ashton's doing. He doesn't listen to this old man.
He doesn't listen to anyone, more like. The awkward tension typically presents in first meetings dissipates after that. I was expecting someone strict and, to an extent, someone severe. But Professor Andrew Clark is definitely the opposite of what I have in mind. The more personable kind, similar to a grandfather who dotes on you at family gatherings. It's obvious why Ash has taken a liking to him.
Ashton tells me there's something you wish to discuss that I could help with. Let's hear it then.
I give Ash a hesitant glance, but he just nods and gestures towards Andrew with his head. He's leaving this to me. It is my story to tell, after all. I keep it short and concise. I found a letter in this old mansion, now I'm cursed. Exactly as I've told Ash and Zach when they asked about it. I don't mention the name of the place, though. No use saying it now that someone else legally owns it. No use dragging other people into my problems.
I'm sure it's that letter I found, but I don't know anymore. I just want to know how to escape this nightmare.
Of course. We're talking about the one in Anslem Village, aren't we?
How did you...
Don't look so surprised. There's only one place popular enough here if we're going to talk about hauntings. I once had a colleague who wrote about it and the urban legends surrounding the place. Years worth of study, but fascinating. It's a shame he passed away at such a young age. He would have done a much better job at explaining topics like this one compared to me.
I wonder if he was cursed and that's why he died.
Ashton here might disagree, but it's an interesting topic in sociology, if you care to have an open mind.
Studying the science and theory behind it is completely different from outright believing in it.
You don't believe in those stories, sir?
Now, this isn't a question of belief. All I'm saying is things like these speak a lot about a place's culture and history. And it's not just limited to ghosts. Monsters, gods, you name it. Even you, Miss Santos.
What about me?
How you respond to these stories. It tells a lot about you and your upbringing. In the same way it tells me why our detective inspector here finds such topics absurd. Interesting, isn't it?
My head is starting to spin from all of this. I'm not the smartest person around, but I understand what he's trying to get at. I think. Still too much to take in at once. I look to Ash for help, but his eyebrows are drawn in a frown. If he keeps staring like that at his cup, I'm pretty sure it'll crack soon.
There's still something you're not telling.
Didn't I tell you everything the other day?
Yeah, but you mentioned the rights. Then you proceeded to drop the topic right after. What's with that?
They don't have anything to do with this.
Rights? Luke and Hannah, right?
Yeah, they're the ones who got the place.
I'm not surprised. They're the kind who gets what they want once they set their eyes on it.
From what I've heard, word gets around.
A heavy sigh escapes my lips. Popular or not, they're just my clients. Albeit a little pushy, but just clients. End of story. I wish you'd stop pestering me about them. What is it again that Becca does when dealing with a particularly difficult child? The pesky, annoying kind? I wish I could remember. I could certainly use the same trick right about now.
Ashton, look here. I know you're trying to help, but the deal's almost already closed. The papers are being prepared. Once it's done, it's over. I'm just their agent.
And when is that happening?
When what? Is there even a purpose to this line of questioning?
Your working relationship with them. When's it going to end?
About a week from now. It depends on how long the approval process would take, but they wanted us to rush it.
Really? You're absolutely sure about that?
Yes, really. Unless they want to buy a house again and want me and Rose to be their agent. If yes, then I don't see a problem with it. Now stop annoying me about it.
Don't accept it.
What? Why? It's my job.
Oh Lord, even my younger siblings aren't this difficult to deal with. Actually, I'm gonna check something real quick. Yep, okay, we're still in the good. That was the right option. Then again, Ash is far from a younger sibling to me. If he'd only spell it out, I'm surely I'd understand. He wouldn't even have to talk about it right now. That's how it is, right? Find an even ground, talk about it like the adults we are. It wasn't like this before, but somewhere along the line, something's changed in us. As people, as friends. I wish there was a way I could tell when or why. Instead, I'm left searching blindly for reasons. The next thing we know, we'll be drifting further and further apart. How frustrating.
Now, kids, settle down. We're not going to solve anything by shouting.
Sorry, Sir Andrew.
No, we're not going to solve anything either if you keep omitting things.
Speak for yourself. I'm not the only one doing it.
You'll have to forgive my former student, Miss Santos. He's always been the curious kind. Many people think he's lazy, but it's actually the opposite. I see that hasn't changed.
Oh, really? How is he back when he was your student? I'm sorry, I need to ask. He doesn't talk much about that.
And there's a reason why. Please don't.
Tried to sleep on the first day of class. He didn't repeat it after what I made him do when I caught him. Students like him are the easiest to deal with, once you know what piques their interest. I'd have to say, he's one of the very few who's actually interested in the subject, though. But there was this one time when...
By the end of the conversation, Ash looks like he's praying for the ground to swallow him. He's never been one to talk about himself. What I know about him are mostly bits and pieces I've gleaned over the years. He's an atrocious singer, he's bad at art, and he has a personal vendetta against mornings. Now it feels he isn't that hard to figure out after all. It's past noon when Andrew has to leave us for another meeting. But before we separate...
Miss Santos, a word of advice. Just keep in mind that when it comes to cases like this, things aren't always what they seem.
Naturally, the mansion and the letter are brought up several times during our talk. And though Ash is right in that Andrew offers a different perspective, he has left me with more questions than answers instead. What is she? What does she want from me? Is she ever going to leave? Y'all continue to bug me after we've left the coffee shop. I don't even notice when Ash takes a different turn on our way back.
Where are we going? You can drop me off at the park.
Guess. You have 3 chances.
I'm serious, Ash. Where are we going?
He doesn't answer, but shortly he stops his car in front of a small, nondescript food stall, a little ways away from the movie house. If I wasn't paying closer attention, I would have missed it without a doubt. He motions for me to wait as he gets out of the car and walks in its direction. Sheesh. If you want to buy something, just say it. No need to make yourself look mysterious. Makes you look more like a dork than cool. The wait isn't long, however. Soon he's walking back, holding 2 fish-shaped cones in both hands. Ice cream? Per face? A cross of the two? By the time he's back inside the car, I've given up any effort in trying to figure out what he bought. Not that it looks bad, it's actually quite cute.
Here, take it.
I have to move my head back a little as he thrusts it at me to avoid the ice cream and the fruit toppings from ending up on my nose.
What's this for?
My arm's getting tired. 5, 4, 3, 2...
With a wary glance, I take it off his hands. I still don't understand why there's a need for ice cream today. Nevertheless, I take a small bite. It's actually pretty good. Must have shown on my face because he chuckles as soon as I take another bite.
Saw the place open the other day when we watched Zach's movie. Thought I should give it a try. It doesn't seem like a bad place to get food from time to time.
And you're giving me free ice cream because...
Do I need to have a reason?
Are you really going to ask me that?
There's the thing about Ashton Frey. He does not just treat anyone to free food because he feels like it. He's that much of a Scrooge. Hell, he even asked me to teach him how to haggle once. Haggle! Of all the people who'd asked me that. I'd have expected such a request from Rebecca, but Ash? Not at all. If I'm going to be honest, he looks a bit constipated with that expression on his face right now. I think he's starting to regret ever buying this.
The other day? The movie with Zach and Rebecca? Rebecca's there, yeah, I think so. Yeah. Anyway, during the movie, Shit. Should have written down something first.
Get to the point, Ashton.
Right. I'm sorry.
What?
Not I'm sorry for, not getting to the point. I'm sorry for the other day. I got carried away. I said things that upset you. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay? That's all? That's all you're going to say? You're not still angry, are you?
You didn't have to buy me anything. A simple sorry would have been enough.
I bite into the cone again. A small attempt to keep myself occupied and relieve the heat crawling up on my face. Doesn't work, but at least I don't have to look at him. Why am I feeling embarrassed over an apology? I have no idea. It's not like it wasn't called for. They were being mean, especially him. And in that fraction of a second, it hits me. He skipped his day off just for today. I should be the one apologizing and thanking him. Silence is an awkward companion while we finish our respective snacks. There are words for this. For people like us, for understandings and sentiments like this. Yet in this instance, they won't come. As promised, he drops me off at the park right after, phrases unsaid, still hanging heavily in the air. In this weather, the city park gives off a lazier and more languid vibe than usual. Where children are usually seen running around and playing, there are now people leaning back on their picnic blankets, simply enjoying the afternoon sun. The smell of food drifts from nearby carts, and if the wind blows in the right direction, one could catch a whiff of freshly trimmed grass. Maybe I should try walking home today? Get my mind off things? To try and find the words somehow? I haven't done that in a while.
Thanks, Ash, for today.
No problem. Say hi to Rebecca for me.
Yeah, I will.
Even so, I linger. We both do. A mild, humid breeze brings the smell of dried leaves, warmed earth, and a far-off distant memory. A false starts and awkward first meetings. Same place. Same people playing the same parts. Funny how of all the days my brain chooses to remember it now.
Wait, Belle.
Ash exits its car. His strides are unsteady when he approaches me. Or maybe this is his uncertainty showing? I'm not quite sure. He's never looked uncertain to me before. Always calm, always sure, always collected. He stops a short distance from me. Close enough that he's within an arm's reach, but just far enough for his voice to be heard over a decent small talk, if this is what it's going to be. He fumbles for something in his pocket.
Here, catch.
The small bag lands cleanly on my outstretched hand before it hits the ground. I raise an eyebrow at him, and he responds by shrugging and stuffing both his hands back into his pockets. Somewhere to the side, he finds an interesting spot to look at. Sometimes you have to wait, Papa said long ago. For once, this time, I listen. His voice is halting, hesitant, when he finds it again.
My mom used to make me carry around one of those when I was young. To ward off evil and bring you luck, she said.
Aww.
I don't believe in this kind of thing now. But if it makes you feel safe, since you're a total scaredy cat.
Oh, wow.
Then I guess it's okay to give you one.
Perhaps at that moment there aren't any words for it. I've never been good with those. But right now, I could thank him in the best way I know. I close the distance separating us. And lightly, in place of phrases one couldn't spin together or answers too early to seek out, I lean over and give him a little peck on the cheek. Aww. The touch is short, fleeting. The kind that speaks volumes of boundaries we don't often cross as friends. Nevertheless, the thought is there. It lingers. In the gentle autumn wind that passes in the empty space separating us when I step back and look at him with a smile. It's easy to express gratitude this way, gratefulness this way, isn't it? At least with my own family, that's the case. For the two of us, I'm not quite sure. Oh, he appreciates it. I was about to say, I wonder if it was the right option, and then, yeah. She kissed him, and it's like, well, that was the right choice. Did he understand? After all, gratitude is considerably harder to put into words when you've spent the latter half of your friendship teetering between good-natured jest and ruffling each other's feathers. Seconds pass before he clears his throat. His face has gone remarkably red. Whether from the heat or something else, I can't quite tell. But he understands. I know he does. He has a smile on him when he finally meets my eye, as the gentlest I've seen him show.
I, gotta go. Got some reports I forgot to file the other day.
Yeah. See you around. Thanks for the ice cream. And the charm.
Don't lose it. We won't find one here again if you do.
I won't. I might move like I have 2 left feet, but I know how to take care of my own stuff. I'm not a total klutz.
I know.
And Belle, remember that one time? Devlin Court?
Oh, I do. With all the clarity in the world.
At the time, when we... What I'm trying to say is that you can rely on me if anything happens. Not the exact same thing, of course, but you get the idea. I'll be around.
I'll keep that in mind. You're not that bad after all.
Before leaving, he waves at me one last time. Next time we talk, we'll be back to the way we are. Because at the end of the day, that's just how things have always moved between us. What we're familiar with. What we're comfortable with. But for all of that, it's always easy to put my own faith in him. I just hope I can keep them safe. Keep him safe. A light wind blows again, sending dried leaves swirling and the distinct smell of earth into the air. For the first time, the sunlight feels less harsh. Maybe a walk is good? I need to visit the grocery too. Come to think of it, wasn't there an art store that opened recently near the park? The cat's name is Baruthiel. Or at least that's what his collar says. It's an odd name to give a cat, in my opinion. But it speaks grace. But it speaks grace, much like the one that carries it. It shows in the way he swishes his tail and his eyes follow my hand's every movement. I'm not sure what he finds fascinating about me, to be honest. I wasn't the very picture of grace when he found me, after all. It was a bad idea carrying 2 heavy bags of newly bought art materials and groceries without help or a sure ride home. In hindsight, perhaps I shouldn't have bought all these at the same time. I didn't even make it past the park. And now I'm suffering beneath the glaring afternoon sun, hunched up on a park bench and drenched in sweat, in the company of a cat curiously watching my every movement. I hope it stays where it is. It's just a black cat, but back at home, they're considered ill omens.
Don't look at me like that. I can act graceful as well if I want to.
Not that I've ever acted gracefully in my life, of course. Growing up with rowdy younger brothers and a sister does that. Or maybe it's the opposite. Mama used to call me a little troublemaker before. Well, graceful or not, there's no use moping. Short breather, and then I'm off home. Besides, it isn't like the company's bad. Even if it's a cat, as long as it doesn't bite or cross my path.
Where's your owner, anyway?
He has one, doesn't he? An owner? That's what the collar's for, isn't it? A bandage is wrapped around one of its paws, though. I wonder what happened to it. Did he run away?
Well, if you don't have one, I won't be able to take you in. My apartment doesn't allow pets. I tried to bring one home before, a cat. Not black, of course. And Rebecca threw a fit before the landlady could.
I take a small packet of sweets from one of the bags beside me and pop it open. As I'm about to put one into my mouth, he meows. My hand stops.
Do you want one?
He doesn't meow again as I'm expecting him to, but I take his unblinking gaze as a yes. I shift the piece to my palm and hold it out to him warily. He sniffs at it once, twice, before...
Baruthia!
Like a good, properly trained pet, Baruthio responds as soon as he's called. Recognition comes as soon as my head snaps in the direction of the voice. Miss McCullough's hard to miss, what with her height.
I'm sorry. Did my cat hurt you? Miss Santos, was it? I'm surprised to see you here.
Nice to meet you again, Miss McCullough.
Were you harmed in any way? I'm sorry. Bruthiel's not exactly fond of other people. Even run away from the veterinarian right now.
Oh no, he was just sniffing my hand earlier.
My Bruthiel's a she.
She? All this time I thought the pause in conversation, if this can be called one, is uncomfortable. We're merely two people working different jobs for the same client. Frankly, meetings like this don't happen often. And if they do, a simple nodding of heads is enough. Still, trying to be friendly won't hurt, right? Learn my lesson, we're talking about her job.
I'm just curious about your work.
What about it?
There's something guarded in her expression at the mention of work, but I pushed through with my question.
I just want to know how it is to work on a house like the Ermengarde Mansion. Is it hard?
I guess she wasn't expecting a question like that, if the way her eyebrows shoot up tells me something.
Because of its age? I wouldn't say it is. It is a challenge, considering the factors me and my team have to sort out. But it's a good project. A breath of fresh air from what I usually work on. And I have a good team. Those original fittings, though. It might be old, but the architecture is magnificent. I'm sure you've seen the stained glass windows in the foyer. Oh, I can already think of so many things I could do with it. But of course, my team will have to double check for necessary repairs here and there. That's probably for the best. It's easy to break some key elements with a rush restoration job, and who knows what other hidden issues there might be underneath. People can be so careless. I'm sorry, I spoke too much.
No, it's okay. You seem to really love what you're doing.
It's not really like that. I'm just lucky to have found work in an interesting field. Anyway, Bruthiel's due for her visit to the vet. Nice talking to you, Miss Santos. I wish you luck with what you're planning to work on. It seems like a big project, too.
She gestures with her head towards the bag. The one's filled with stuff I've recently bought from the art store.
It's a project for a friend, actually.
All the same. Good luck.
I watch her as she leaves, although she stops shortly before crossing the threshold separating the park and the street. She faces me again, looking like there's something she's forgotten to say.
By the way, about the Ermengarde Mansion, with my clients, it's the rights. I mean, I hope you don't mind me asking, but has the deal been finalized?
There's still a few papers they need, but the house is more or less theirs now.
Ah, thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Wait, about the mansion, the
letter. The same one they saw. Whoever she is, she's asking for help. Someone. I want to tell Miss McCullough that the urban legends aren't just legends anymore. They're real. She's not going to believe me.
Don't mind me. I need to go too. Have a good day, Miss McCullough.
I hasten to pick up all the bags I've left on the bench and ran as far as my legs can take me. In that moment, what I'm carrying in my hands weighs far lighter than the overwhelming guilt trying to consume me. Home. I want to go home. Anywhere where I won't be reminded of the house, of her, of my own cowardice. The food tastes less appetizing tonight. Wow, Marianne is like winning this race. A pity. One would think that someone who had been on a continuous binge of instant noodles would find a home-cooked meal enjoyable. But it isn't. Hunger isn't what is gnawing at me tonight. Neither are my sore muscles. The TV runs loudly in the background, but what it says barely registers in my brain. It's hard when things you're trying to forget keep returning to the forefront of your mind. It distracts you, eats at you, devours you. I wish this would stop. I wish I wasn't the one who picked it up. I wish it was somebody else.
In other local news, a woman was found dead in her home. Luxbourne police officials are currently investigating the crime scene, but has classified the case as homicide.
Huh?
The victim, identified as Rose Pamela Cooper, 33 years old, working as a real estate agent.
Rose?
Discovered lying in a pool of blood in her 2-bedroom flat with the words "Help me" repeatedly written on the walls.
No. No. This isn't what I want. This isn't supposed to happen. None of this is supposed to happen. No one's supposed to die. Those are just stories, right? Legends? That's what everyone has kept telling me, so why? And I... Immediately I rush to my study table in search of my phone. My hand, cold from dread, clings tightly to it as soon as I touch its edges. A piece of folded paper, the letter, lying unassumingly beside it, slips to the floor when I pick up the device. But I pay it no mind. There are more important things. Right now, I need to call her. I need to call her. I was with her. I was just with her not too long ago and she was okay. No. It isn't Rose. I'm sure it is. I'm sure of it. I just talked to her and... A sob escapes me and hot tears begin to blur my vision. One after another they trickle down, weighted by the very same guilt I refuse to admit I've been carrying from the start. The same one I've been hiding from. The same one that has put the people I care about in danger. My hands shake as I navigate Rose's number on my contacts list. She'll answer, right? That's what she always does. She'll pick it up, tell me to turn down the waterworks and call me a wuss afterwards.
She'll answer. Please answer, Rose.
Again and again I dial, whispering, praying, pleading.
Come on, Rose. Don't do this to me. Please pick up. I know you're there, Rose. You're not dead. Please tell me you're not.
This adds to the series of deaths and disappearances that has plagued Luxbourne in the recent years. The authorities are currently looking at a possible link with the notorious Anselm Butcher case.
The TV runs loudly in the background. The deafening static sounds from my phone speakers. And in my ears, I can only hear the screams. Her pleas. Her whispers. You're not safe. A buzzing sensation jolts me awake. My body still wants to sleep, to forget what I heard, what I saw last night. But it's there, nudging, prodding at me. Slowly, I become aware of how awkward my position is and the aches that accompany sleeping in a curled up position the night before. If I even slept at all. The memories are impossible to forget now that Rose is gone. They say it's easier when you say it out loud. Instead, the words weigh heavier on me each time. She's gone. Gone because of me. Gone because of one letter I was too curious to look at. I should have been more careful. I should have just kept my mouth shut. I should have destroyed it before anyone else got involved. I should have... The notification light on my laptop blinks incessantly, mockingly when I look at it, as if it's calling me back to a sense of normalcy. I check it, nevertheless out of habit more than anything. If this were one of those typical days, I'd happily comply and get myself to our office. Today my limbs just feel heavy. On the one hand, going will keep me busy, take my mind elsewhere. On the other, the place in itself is a stark reminder of what my own fears have cost me. I should just... Okay, so we've learned the hard way that going to work saves lives, so... Moping won't get me anywhere. This is just like one of those things, isn't it? You deal with it with a smile, no matter how bad things get, and hope for the best. Although my whole body feels like lead and my limbs are sore, I push myself away from the chair and head for the shower. The letter I dropped on the floor last night flutters open as I pass by, unfolding for no one else but for me to see. Every word written on it glares back at me. They sneer. They ridicule. Like living beings fully aware of what they've done. With a huff, I pick it up and shove it into my bag, perhaps with more anger and frustration than I'm used to showing. This too I'll deal with. Somehow I'll find a way and make things right. I have to. before it takes more people from me. Even if I must do it on my own. Papers rustling, telephones ringing, feet shuffling. Overall, today looks like a typical working day at Briar Realty Corporation. Except it isn't. The air's thick with tension and unspoken questions. No doubt everyone present has already heard about Rose. If they missed last night's report, they'd likely see it in the morning news, in the papers, or on various news sites on the internet. Everywhere is a bitter reminder. In fact, everyone's giving me a wide berth, as though the mere mention of Rose would be enough to trigger something in me. It's appreciated, but it only serves to create a bigger hole in the place Rose has left. After lunch, my boss calls for a meeting. I don't have to look up from my work to know what it's about. He's in a strange, pensive mood today, probably out of respect for a dead colleague. Oddly, I'd appreciate it more if you just shouted at me today. Anything's better.
I'm sure you've all heard of what happened to Miss Cooper. She was a valued member of our team and she will be missed. There's no date for a funeral yet, but those who wish to attend, kindly speak with your respective supervisors. By the way, has anyone heard about our still AWOL staff? None? HR, you know what to do. Santos, a word? In my office?
At the end of it, I've been given the entirety of Rose's workload, including finalizing the rights papers, and have been promised an ample compensation for my efforts. I think he's expecting me to be happy about it. Instead, I immerse myself in my work. I have to, anyway, if I want to forget. Time flies when you do, and by the time I give notice, it's already late. Everyone's already gone, leaving me in the company of a radio and a member of our janitorial staff. I don't even know his name. Rose likely does. She remembers people easily like this.
The Luxbourne Police Department continues its search for the following reported missing people.
The radio blares one name after another. Hold on a sec. Missing? Aren't they? Still, I have to check. Frantic, I turn back to my desktop. The loud tapping of my fingers against the keys fills the office for the better part of my shift as I look through everything. Background about the place, its history from the current owners, and a list of employees hired under BRC. And I'm right. Of course I am. BRC may have a lot of staff. They may have a lot of agents hired, but I'd remember those names anywhere. After all, they're also part of the crew who worked with us in preparing the mansion for the open house. And the letters. No, they can't be. I hope it's not what I'm thinking.
But Rose is...
Something snaps into place in a fraction of a moment. These people, Rose, the letter.
I need to... No. If it's like this, they still won't believe me. I have to make sure of it first.
Evidence doesn't lie. That's what Ash often says, right? If I have proof, then maybe. I don't want to get my hopes up yet, but maybe there's still a way I can save them. The letter, my phone, papers, anything that will prove useful. I grab all of them and stuff them in my bag. I can't stay here. There's something I need to do. There's something those people should... The noise cuts sharply through the room, stopping my hands short of cramming a pen into my bag.
Hello? Anyone there?
Someone must have left their printer open again. I may be in a hurry, but if I don't turn it off, another person's certainly going to have a fit tomorrow over wasted company resources. Most of the time it's Rose who does the nagging, but the clicking of my pen in my hand is a welcome distraction as I search for the said object. Each stride my feet takes also echoes throughout the empty workplace. I've lost sight of the janitor minutes ago, and with me being the only one left, the tapping of my feet against the wooden floor is something I soon learned to appreciate. It doesn't take me long to find it. By the time I turn it off, 5 pages are already strewn about on the ground, the paper tray having also been left ajar. Sighing, I pick each one up to put someplace proper. But the page that greets me next makes my blood run cold. The chill that makes its way up my spine is as numbing as the day in the attic. The sheet crinkles under my tense grip. All I can hear is my breathing as it rasps through my gritted teeth. But before I can even gather myself, take the first step out of here, total darkness suddenly envelops me. And as I'm hearing every horrid thought running inside my head right now, something snaps. A soft creak grating through the thin veil of stillness that has descended in the room. Every muscle, every bone in my body goes rigid at the sound. Familiar. So familiar now. Yet my own traitor's curiosity still presses me to take a careful peek over the cubicle's wall. It's her. Standing in the only exit of the office, albeit facing away from me. She doesn't even need to turn around for me to know it's the same misshapen face, tattered clothes, and unsightly gait. The same person in the attic. I take a step back. The pen I'm holding slips from my hand and her entire head turns. A scream almost escapes my mouth and I duck under my table as quickly as I can. My heart is pounding hard against my chest. I can hear the bone-chilling sound of her walk, the weird clicking that follows her, and the telltale squelch of something wet as she walks towards me. Nearer and nearer. The sounds are slowly getting louder. The only thing keeping the whimper from escaping me is my hand covering my mouth. Someone please help me. Anyone? I close my eyes, muttering a continuous stream of prayers, all while attempting to steady my own breathing. Please, please, don't let her hear me. Oh. Nice. The seconds, minutes stretch out before me are agonizing. Is she gone? Slowly open my eyes to take a peek. I don't dare move or make a sound. In the face of such terror, I can only beg, let out a silent pleas to whoever is out there. Please, please, don't let her notice. I want to live.